Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Had the guns too.
California.
His crib in Miami. His crib in Miami, LA. Yeah, it's all rated right now.
But I just want people don't, how we get focused on one thing and then they be doing shit on the other side. So
Try not to curse. Try not to curse, FBA. Good.
I'm sorry. Yeah, still say, have our eyes open.
Yeah.
Nothing to get off track, really.
I'm not mad at him for leaving because after what they did to R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and stuff like that, I'll leave too. The exchange ain't no robbery. Here it is. These women.
It was took his kids with them though. We
can fly them in later. Okay, we gotta get up out of that jam.
Let me real quick, y'all. Let me go ahead and chime in. Let me go ahead and just and put this article out there for content for just the contextual purposes and everything else like that, so everybody can because I know y'all all heard about it, but let me go ahead and put it out there. I'm gonna read it real quick from Hip Hop DX, one of our curation partners as well too. So let me go ahead and get this thing, and then let's get this conversation rolling. I see everybody rolling up in here, and everybody's like, "Yo, I saw it early today," and I was like, I wasn't gonna do it. I said, "Well, I might just go ahead and wait tomorrow." But then FBA, you hit me up, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. We need to go ahead and talk about this." Go ahead and put it out there now. Shout out to my people over there on YouTube, guys. Tonight we're talking about Homeland Security raiding Diddy's homes in LA and Miami. Live broadcast. We're gonna be discussing this tonight. This is gonna be this is streamed off of X, Twitter, and this is crazy right now, guys. So shout out to all you guys coming in over there on YouTube. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and share, like, subscribe, leave a comment on tonight's broadcast. Shout out to all my people over here kicking it with us on X as well to Twitter. Let me go ahead real quick, guys, and touch up on this article. DJ, can you hear me before I go ahead and start?
Go ahead, handle business. Was good. Newstoter.
What's up? Let me go ahead. This is from Hip Hop DX, and I'm gonna just go ahead and real quick. And FBA got us. She's got some new news. Her and Mark as well too. So we're gonna let the fam go ahead and get into it. Says Diddy homes across the United States raided by Homeland Security. Once again, this is from Hip Hop DX, curated on the Newstoter.com platform. Newstoter.com is the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. Diddy's troubles with the law continue to worsen as his properties across the United States are under investigation by federal agents. On Monday, March 25th, TMZ reported that the 54-year-old mogul's homes in Miami and Los Angeles were being raided with at least two helicopters patrolling airspace above the latter. A Homeland Security Investigations representative told publication early today Homeland Security Investigation New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from the HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. The case is reportedly being handled by the Southern District of New York in relation to the multiple allegations recently brought against Diddy for sexual harassment and misconduct. Additionally, Fox 11 shared a video that shows several people handcuffed on his property in Southern California. As of now, it is unclear who those individuals are, if Diddy is even present on the scene. According to a public flight tracker, Diddy's private jet departed LAX earlier in the day and was last spotted over Puerto Rico. The destination remains unknown. Last month, a producer named Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who worked on the Love album Off the Grid, accused Diddy of sexual harassment as well as drugging and threatening him over the course of a year. According to a trigger warning that prefaces the court documents, the lawsuit contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including SA. Additionally, there are graphic images of the aftermath of the shooting, redacted images of sexual intercourse, redacted images of minors, sex workers, prostitutes, details of sex trafficking, and illegal distribution of guns and drugs. Diddy has vehemently denied all claims, with his lawyer Sean Hawley sharing the following statement with Hip Hop DX. Lil Rod is nothing more than a liar who filed a $30 million lawsuit shamelessly looking for an undeserved payday. His reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. We have overwhelmingly indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies. Our attempts to share this proof with Lil Rod's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls. Prior to that, Diddy and singer Aaron Hall were accused of assaulting two women and I'll just say assaulting because we, you know what it is, but assaulting 2 women in 1990-91 court documents state that the plaintiff listed in the filing as Jane Doe and a friend were invited back to the R&B singer's apartment following the industry event. She claims Diddy coerced her into sex, and that Hall later barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced her to have sex with him. Doe claims her friend, who was not involved in the filing, said she had been forced to have sex with Combs and Hall in another room. Furthermore, she claims that irate Combs visited the woman and her friend again days later, choking Jane Doe to the point she passed out, resulting in her seeking medical attention. He was worried that she would tell the girl he was with at the time he had what he and Hall had done. The complaint reads, denying the claims, a spokesman for Diddy told Hip Hop DX these are fabricated claims alleging misconduct from over 30 years ago and filed at the last minute. This is nothing but a money grab because of Mr. Combs' famous success. He's an easy target for anonymous accusers who lie without conscience or consequence for financial benefit. The New York legislature surely did not intend or expect the Adult Survivors Act to be exploited by scammers. The public should be skeptical and not rush to accept these bogus allegations. This became the third sexual assault lawsuit filed against Diddy in the space of a week. His first allegations of sexual assault and domestic violence from Cassie, who he dated for a decade until 2018. He denied all allegations and quickly settled the suit with his lawyer, saying the decision is in no way a admission of wrongdoing. The second person to accuse Diddy of sexual assault was Joy Dickinson Neal, who claims that the rapper and producer drugged and assaulted her in the early 90s while also filming the act. He denied these allegations as well, saying through a spokesperson, the last-minute lawsuit is an example of how well-intentioned law can be turned on its head. Ms. Dickinson's 32-year-old story is made up and not credible. Mr. Combs never assaulted her, and she implicates companies that did not exist. This is purely a money grab and nothing more. In late February, prior to the most recent claims by Lil Rod, Diddy claimed he's a victim of cancel culture and a motion to dismiss the gang rape lawsuit brought against him. All righty. So yeah, that's where we at, guys. And I know you said y'all hearing more stuff as well going on as well too. And I saw that you had Homeland Security involved in it. The kind of raid that they did on his place. You know, you're thinking about I've seen, you know, when you had cases of, you know, people talk about kiddie porn and stuff like that. I've seen people come in there and that kind of stuff, but the Homeland Security, I was a little bit taken aback by when I saw that they actually was doing the raid on his house as well too. So FBA Goddess, share with us what you said you heard about because Mark wasn't, he must have left, but share with us what you heard about the actual where his actual plane is at now.
I'm gonna read what I posted earlier, where it reports emerging that a private jet owned by Sean P. Diddy Combs has left the United States, possibly headed to a country with no U.S. extradition agreements. DHS has conducted multiple raids on Combs' homes as part of a sex trafficking probe. The plane's trajectory seems to be headed towards Cape Verde, a country with no extradition agreement with the United States. Then I also have where this was just recently that his plane, which is Love Air LLC. They said that's his plane that everybody normally sees, and that is grounded in Antigua. So that's where it is as we speak.
Damn, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. If it's to the point that he's going to a place that they said that you can't extradite, then you know this is serious, that he is really seriously concerned as well too. I want to go ahead and, you know, everybody's presumed innocent to proven guilty. I want to go ahead and be as fair as possible. We're just reporting that article came from Hip Hop DX. So, you know, I'm just reading the actual article. I don't know the extent of his innocence or his guilt. I'm just be honest about that. But, you know, in the next few days, we will definitely look and check and see exactly, you know, if that plane, if he stays over in the area where you can't be extradited at, you know, people are going to pretty much already form their own ideas and conclusions about this as well. I'll say this right here. When this situation dropped last year sometime, you know, it hasn't taken long for them to really to go after Diddy. I'll go ahead and say that. Like a lot of these other powerful people or powerful men, normally it's years. It takes years and years and years before they can go ahead and start laying things down as well. When you look at Harvey Weinstein and you look at some of these other powerful men, it took them years and years before they could actually go ahead and really, get to him. But this has been.
One thing I was saying is some months ago when they were talking about things when it comes to him, I was saying that if the FBI pick up on this, that it's a done deal, because when they get in on it, they have already put together a lot of things before they come to you with it. They already had stacked their case. So it was a good thing for me. I would, if he wants to not get caught up, the best thing for him to have done is to leave.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, when all that stuff went down with Russell Simmons, I know Russell Simmons jetted too. He had left out the country.
He left too.
Yeah.
So he's over there in Dubai.
So Russell never came back?
He left one time before and he came back. And then he left again once the dust started kicking up again.
Oh man, this is crazy. Jess Cakes, I know you up here. Did you want to say something? I know you got the little one. Shout out to everybody up in the space, guys. If you want to speak, we talking about the situation. Of course, y'all all know it. It's on the national news. It's on the world news. It's on every major media outlet that you can think of as well too. So we're talking about the situation going on with Puffy, Diddy, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call them. We're talking about that. So if anybody wants to come on up here and speak, we did, like I say, DJ, and when you get a chance, post that up in the Jumbotron. We did a space months ago, and I told everybody, I said, when that situation with Cassie happened, it didn't look good for Puffy, because I just felt like it was just going to open the Pandora's box, and damn if it hadn't. Miss T, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing?
Hey, sweetheart. Good to see you, and shout out to the family in the room. I was just reading that his plane, his private jet, is in the air, and they say the trajectory that is on is to Cape Verde Island, which does not have an extradition treaty. So that's the latest news. He's on this plane.
Thank you, Miss T. We appreciate that. Is that the Cape Verde? Don't they have any other places closer by where he can't be extradited at? He had to go way over there. Is no places over on this side of the world?
I don't know. Maybe he got a house there, Who knows? But he getting the hell out of town like Russell Simmons did.
Damn, this is crazy here. This man was on top of the world not too long ago. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Puffy was getting all kind of lifetime achievement awards and everything else. And then you saw once that news with Cassie dropped, that was it. He started getting dropped from all of his sponsorships. I think he was invited to one of the award shows, and you had some of the other celebrities saying, hey, we don't want to be seated next to him and everything else like that as well too. So within
had to back down on Zeus.
Yeah.
I think he is this younger generation of what happened to Bill Cosby. Remember, Bill had pretty much everything, was on top of the world. And what did it take? A woman to bring everything down. Well, really, it was his action that led to his downfall, but the downfall was brought upon him by a non-Black American woman. Pretty much same thing with Cassie, because Cassie is Venezuelan and white, I believe. So
the last person they did like this was Michael Jackson, when they went up in his house with them guns and all that kind of stuff, like they have done with him. The last person that I can remember that they actually went in with guns pulled out and on people was with Michael Jackson.
Cassie, she's not mixed. I thought she was Black. She ain't half Black, no?
Let me look it up. I know she's Venezuelan. Let me look up her lineage.
I didn't think she was Black. I thought she was.
I wasn't sure. I thought she might have some Black in them. I could be wrong. I'm just asking. I'm not entirely sure, but yikes. We said, and I put this up in the Jumbotron too, and this was back from one of the actual spaces we had broadcast. and it was titled "Is Diddy Finished by Selling Lawsuit with Cassie?" It also had Michael Rappaport up in that broadcast as well too. But months ago, I asked that, I was like, "Is Diddy finished by selling this lawsuit with Cassie?" Because I felt that it just was going to open up a floodgate, that you're going to start having people, and like you said, I'm not sure if Miss T said or FBA guys, like the Bill Cosby thing, where you started having all these women coming out the woodwork saying, well, 25 years ago, this happened to me, or 30 years ago, this happened to me, or 15 years ago, this happened to me. So
her mama black and West Indian. Her father is Filipino.
Yeah, forgot. Okay, her last name is Ventura. That's where I got the Venezuelan from. But yeah, she's Mexican American, no, African American, Mexican, and West Indian descent, and her father is Filipino.
that's what I'm saying. This stuff here with Diddy, this has moved ultra fast here. This has moved ultra fast. When we've seen celebrities accused of stuff before, powerful men, but this thing has moved like it was on steroids. Like I say, when you look at Harvey Weinstein and all the years and all the complaints, when you look at the director that went over to Europe so he wouldn't be charged, Roman Polanski, I think Roman Polanski just now might be actually, actually facing some legal stuff. But Roman Polanski for the longest stayed off of American soil, so they couldn't arrest him, and he even was winning damn awards and stuff like that. So for this thing to just speed up and ramp up that way with Diddy, just like, wow.
They moved the hands of protection off of him. So that left him wide open. Clive Davis, a Jew, pretty much had protected him, I guess, for as long as he could, because Diddy knows a lot of Clive Davis's secrets as well. This is interesting, but yeah, he's out here.
It's a house of cards, because when one start telling, all of them go start following.
Miss T, I'm glad you mentioned Clive Davis as well too, because I was on the phone and I was talking about this with somebody, and they said the same thing. Well, Clive Davis ain't around to protect him. Like even Clive Davis is dissing himself from Diddy and stuff like that. People don't realize how powerful Clive Davis is. For years, Clive Davis was able to hide a lot of that stuff with the drug abuse that Whitney Houston had going on and stuff like that.
Just about this bad. He moved out of the way from her, and look what happened.
Yeah, so this is. I see my girl Trouble came up here, so shout out to Trouble. Just Cakes, Trouble, you guys want to speak? Y'all definitely, like I said, you go ahead and raise your hand. We will go ahead and get you. Anybody else down in the speaker section as well, too? Trouble, go ahead. You got it.
Hey, Newstoter. Shout out to everybody in the space. I'm in line right now. Let me be quick.
What's up, Trouble?
Not a whole lot. I just feel personally like you said earlier, Diddy knew what was coming down the pipe when the whole Cassie thing came up in the air, and it felt like maybe there should have been a conversation between Diddy and Cassie about whatever had went down between them prior to it, and he may have had the opportunity to settle out of court, but arrogance, probably impeded him from doing that. Then she went ahead with her claims and did what she did. So everything else came down. He had ample time. If there was some fire where that smoke was lit, to remove whatever evidence that he may have had. But to me, I can't feel no ways about Puffy, because, you on a plane headed out of state and out of the country. And my thing is, if you're not guilty of the degeneracy being accused of, you have nowhere to go. There's nowhere that you should be running to out of the country that way. So he's making himself look guilty by upping and leaving. You stopping in Puerto Rico and then refueling and then going to wherever it is that you're going to make yourself look guilty. And one thing that, a lot of people should know by now is that what pertains to white America, like all of the white guys, like you all just mentioned, that got caught up and it took so long for them to get caught up, they got the complexion for the protection. Your black behind does not. So when you engage in the same degeneracy that your white counterparts are engaged in, just know that when that hammer drops and that card gets called in and your protection is gone, that you're going to do not only harsher time than they would have ever gotten, but it's going to move a whole lot swifter than their cases moved as well. They're going to pull it all the way down on you. I really can't feel no ways about Puffy right now. I just don't feel no ways about it, because I feel like to a certain degree we need to move all these degenerates that's causing degeneracy in our communities and with our own people out of the way. He put himself in that position, and so I'm just saying, I don't feel no ways about it. And if you're not guilty, you shouldn't be fleeing. And I'm laying right there.
But Trouble, I will say this. Hold on real quick, FBA Goddess. Let me say this real quick. Don't forget now, when OJ was, you know, when they had the murder thing with him, OJ was in the Bronco and AC was driving. And, you know, I mean, so sometimes, you know, if you're scared as hell, you may go ahead and run as well, too, even if you may be innocent. So I'm not saying he's innocent or he's guilty. I'm just saying.
OJ had a good excuse because somebody he loved had just got killed. You know, the glove didn't fit. So he had to quit, and he didn't do it. So he was distraught over his loved one, you know, his baby's mother. You know, he was trying to acclimate that inside of his mind. He needed some time, and he didn't want to be sitting in jail or being arrested for something he didn't do while he was still hurting. OJ had a reason for running. You know, he didn't really run. He was slow rolling around the highway, and he wasn't the one driving. So that OJ had nothing to do with that. He innocent.
All right, Trouble. Let me go ahead and get to Jess Cakes. Ricky, I see you up here as well, too. Shout out to FBA Goddess holding it down with us tonight as a co-host as well. Jess Cakes, go ahead and unmute your mic.
So, I had a blowout situation. So we good now, and I couldn't unmute because I had copyrighted stuff put in the background, so I didn't want you to get a thing for it. But nevertheless, I'm not mad at Diddy for leaving, because it's hard. It's already hard enough to get a fair shake in America as a black man. Because here it is. Look what they had to do to get Cosby. They had to seal documents, and had to go back and break rules and make new rules and everything else. So I'm not mad at him. If I was Diddy, Cassie wouldn't have got nothing. And I don't. Some people might not like it, but she wouldn't have got nothing from me. Here it is. You sued me for millions of dollars. If it was such a big thing, this would be my issue with these victims, quote unquote victims. You know, you could go through years of abuse, and then now it's here come back, baby, no. Then you want to come back and sue, okay? It kind of looks like a transactional relationship. A lot of these things look like transactional relationships that here it is. You come to collect on both ends. How I looked at the Cassie situation, it looked like she pretty much just stuck Diddy up. As far as what was said about the freak outs and stuff like that, when I looked at the court documents, it just looked like a whole bunch of freaky people doing what freaky rich people do. So Cassie wouldn't get nothing from me, but yet still, of course, a blind man could see that will open up the floodgates. And who want to sit in jail for these people that's going to take the opportunity? Because everybody see what it is. It's an open field with him. So I'm thinking about putting in a lawsuit against it myself. So, you know, that's that. But I'll land it there.
All right. Thank you, Jess Cakes. Let me go ahead and get to Ricky. Ricky, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What's up, Newstoter? What's up to the room?
What's up now?
So, as I look at this situation, we look at all these situations, you cannot get a fair trial, right? I don't like Diddy. I think he ruined rap in the 90s after Biggie died, you know, but I do believe in fairness. I believe in due process. If you say somebody did something 10, 20 years ago, they can't defend themselves. And furthermore, in a lot of these situations, whether it be Cosby or whatever else, or this situation, you're talking about this guy's ex-girlfriend that he was with for years. They was in a relationship. At the point in time that she stays and the relationship keeps going, you got to assume, at least back then, everything was all good. You got to say bygones. And look at Russell Simmons. He knows that just by them having those allegations, everybody just assumes he's guilty. It's not like he can really defend himself. It's not like he can say, all right, well, here's the evidence I got it. Nobody's going to believe him. So this is just a witch hunt. This is just a lynching. And this is, all of these black men are proxies for all black men. If we look at the Mann Act, the thing they used to get R. Kelly books, that was for Jack Johnson. We should reject all of these sham trials, and if somebody hurts a lady or does whatever, they should go to jail. They should be punished, but not these 30-year-old, 50-year-old, bogus allegations. Just want to add that.
All right, appreciate that, Ricky. Appreciate that. Najee, I see you came up. If you want to speak, just raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and get to you as well too. So definitely go ahead, Najee. I see you got your hand up.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, just to reply to the lady that was talking about as far as like him running. I mean, when you're in a court system, it's it's warfare. So he has the right to go somewhere, contact his lawyers, and have his lawyers correspond with the prosecutors to at least find out what's going on. So I think that it's really nothing wrong with him running. Not running, but actually not turning himself in, but just basically corresponding with the prosecutor's office to his lawyer. That's a common practice. I kind of seen this. It seemed like they were building up to this with the dispute with Ciroc, with his complaints about racism with Revolt Radio and advertisement, and also with PPD in Las Vegas that was dropping his name, that was kind of like insinuating that he had something to do with Tupac. So it just seemed like something's coming. I'm just kind of indifferent about it all, but I'm in no way saying having fun on social media, which I think is just kind of tacky. You know what I'm saying? So again, like I said, I'm indifferent either way. I'm just basically watching to see what happens.
All right, appreciate that. I will say this real quick. We got to remember too that even though everybody's saying that he's running and this and that or whatever, let's be for real. He hasn't been charged yet. It's not like he's been charged with a crime, and they were coming to arrest him or something like that. And he said, "Oh well, let me go ahead and book it right now, whatever." So maybe a charge is coming down the road. We don't know, but he hasn't been charged, so it's not like he was actually running from the cops or anything like that from law enforcement at this point. Like I said, now a charge might be coming down the pipe. Who knows in a day or two, a week or whatever. But officially, he has not been charged. So, and like Najee said, he could be going over there to clear his head to see what he's gonna do. These are some serious allegations. Not the fact that you got Homeland Security. When I'm thinking about Homeland Security, and maybe I'm wrong, like it'd be one thing if it was the feds that, hit his place up. And I believe, but when you got Homeland Security, I'm thinking like, damn, this is like, I'm thinking like terrorists. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, like 9/11 terrorist type stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? Why the hell is Homeland Security, at his homes and stuff like that? Like, I'm like, wow, like, I'm thinking like you talking about some Al Qaeda type stuff, like.
That sex trafficking was coming from not only from out of the United States, but from other countries as well. So that's what they were trying to say. I'm not saying that that definitely the case, but personally, if that were me, I would have left too. Shit, I'd have got out of here because you better off on the outside fighting your case than behind some bars, I believe. And I wouldn't want to come off for no extra money when he just got sued trying to, get from out of jail. I wouldn't want to do none of that. I would want to fight from on the outside.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like when people are actually like just being a black man or whatever, there've been a lot of times in this country history that a black man's been innocent and he done booked it and ran or whatever because he like, hey, I ain't gonna make it to trial. Let's be for real. There have been a lot of innocent people, especially black men, that were innocent and didn't even, and I know this is not the same as it was 50, 60 years ago, but there's been a lot of innocent black men that didn't even make it to trial, so I don't know if he did it or he didn't do it or whatever, but like I said, at this point in time, he hasn't been charged with a crime, so we just got to kind of sit back and wait and see exactly was what. I know when people see the actual thing that, hey, he done got up in a private jet, he done booked, everybody's like, well, that don't look right, that look like something a guilty man would do or whatever. I don't know. He could be seeing his whole life flashing before his eyes or whatever, but at this point in time, we really don't know. So we just speculating. But the fact that like FBA got us said, and I said, when I saw Homeland Security, you know, and I'm thinking about terrorist type stuff with Homeland Security. I'm like, Homeland Security, this is not something I would think that they would be, you know, investigating. But for the fact that they were, you know, just kind of raised the senses even more so. Ray, go ahead, you guys. Let me give a shout out real quick to Black Pressure as well. Too Pressure, a shout out. Thank you for the contribution on Cash App. Go ahead, Ray, you got it.
What's going on, news? So I just want to pose a question to the room. And again, I'm not saying he did it or he didn't do it. But do you think this just could be a case of Diddy's karma coming up to catch up? Because we know throughout the years, you know, the numerous things, you know, that he's been involved in. You know, with Uptown Records, I believe that was like in the late 80s, early 90s. There was a club shooting that he was involved in, I believe in like 1999 with J-Lo, and I think Shine, he, you know, got caught up with that. Just numerous, you know, beefs, you know, with his alleged involvement with Tupac's murder and allegedly Biggie's, you know, I heard he was, you know, fighting J. Cole and slapping Drake and doing all types of crazy stuff. And obviously the whole situation with Cassidy, and he's obviously gotten, you know, accused of being physically abusive by his ex-girlfriends, you know, in the past and things like that. So could this just be a case of Diddy's karma catching up with him?
That's a good question, Ray. It's something that we really don't have the answer to, because like you said, there's been a lot of things said about Puffy over the years and stuff like that as well too. So I mean, that's a pretty good question you pose right there as well too, because Puffy for a long time had this clean cut image, and then, you know, as people start pulling back the I guess the layers and stuff like that, people felt that, you know, there were a lot of things that he may or may not have had his hand in. I'll just say it like that. But that's a real possibility, Ray. That's very, very real possibility.
Hey, can I answer that real quick?
Go ahead.
Hey, Ray, so basically get on social, right? And come into my Kai Productions room and look for the hashtag, the Diddy Bop effect. I coined that. So, homie just mentioned 50, right? 50 for years, G-unit, by the way, you know what I'm saying? For years have been telling us, hey, yo, Diddy's a creep. Diddy did this, and y'all don't seem to have a problem with that, you know what I mean? Why y'all still associating with Diddy after he done did whoop-de-whoop? So he wasn't saying that, hey, look, you know, Diddy really doing this? He got to, you know, kind of beat around the bush in a way, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like him and Diddy got a problem. He's just telling you in plain sight, hey, look, whoop-de-whoop, you got to watch this joker, you know what I mean? Other thing is, too, when you say, oh, bring up the karma, well, I guess so. We was kind of talking about that last night in the late night space. Karma come in many different ways. So when you brought up the Uptown Records thing, Diddy was never an artist at Uptown Records. He was just an A&R. You feel what I'm saying? So why did you then turn around, create Bad Boy just to screw over your artists? You know, Black Rob, Bass, you know what I mean? Biggie, even we go all add this stuff up. Everything that he did, the D-Block and the Locks, you know what I'm saying? Ostracized them, kept them from doing certain things. So this is just a long line of things that he has done to people. You know what I'm saying? Superstars alike too as well. You know, Justin Bieber, you know what I mean? And a whole bunch of other folks like Meek Mill, you know what I'm saying? No slow-mo. So come look up the Diddy Bop effect. I also talk about this in my video, How to Make Money Off Your Talent. So what is an example of the Diddy Bop effect? So there was an artist, not gonna name names, Diddy signed this artist, right? They went out, going to lunch or whatever, dinner to celebrate. The artist finally, you know, they make a hit record, whatever, it's a popular song. We all know it. And, you know, obviously you make money off of that. So that artist gets their first royalty check, and only to see in the royalty check statement the bill for the dinner that they went out to go celebrate. Damn, I thought you was treating me, Diddy. What happened? You know what I'm saying? So ain't nothing for free out here. The other thing is, too, you know, when we talk about the Diddy Bop effect, hey, look, you doing this, that, and the third to your artist, but no one did that to you at Uptown because you wasn't an artist, Diddy. So who told you, or taught you, rather, how to not be fair to your artist? Was it Barry Gordy? Was it Russell Simmons? You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a long list of trial and error Diddy got on his belt. A lot of folks say he got Biggie out the way. You know what I'm saying? Because Biggie wanted to lead Bad Boy. You know what I mean? We can talk about this all day, the Diddy Bop effect. This is my talking point, but go ahead. I ain't gonna hold up the mic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, let me go. Oh, go ahead, FBA Goddess. Then let me get the Cool Breeze and the hands up. Go ahead, FBA.
The woman that was shot, and I don't know if y'all remember that there was a woman that was almost killed in that nightclub where that shooting was done, where he didn't take the fall. Well, she's been talking lately about how she told them that Diddy was the one that shot her.
Thanks.
No, I didn't know that one, but because Shine always took the fall for that, so I didn't know that.
Let me answer that. Shine is a teller-room. You know what I'm saying? From another spot. So why wouldn't he take the fall? Because all he was going to have to do was get extradited anyway back to his country. And if you think of a place where he's from, look, he's the governor.
But Shine did serve some time in jail though.
Because he was paid off, bro. Everybody know that. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. And this is the argument.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you now. I don't blame Shine if he got paid off for it. If he took the fall for it, he's supposed to get paid off for it.
He's supposed to get paid. You did 10 years of your life in jail. So that goes. What I was gonna say, it was another thing. So he had the guy paid off or got paid something for that, because at the end of the day, there was no real evidence on Shine that he was the one busting the gun in the first place. There was no evidence saying that Shine was the one, or anyone that was pointing out. So Shine, I guess, on his own accord.
The lady that was shot, he did, but for whatever reason, it was suppressed. And she said now she has been, she's been all over TikTok talking about that, she don't care what she got to do. She said that they had tried to pay her off some years ago, but now she's back or whatever, because I guess she feels more courage to come out because everybody's talking. But she said she saw P. Diddy shoot her in her face.
What's the latest name on TikTok? Just for my knowledge.
I gotta go look it up again. I hold on one moment.
Right.
Just look just look up the case though, what happened back there, Ray. That's how you can easily find it. But go ahead.
But real quick, let me go ahead and get to Cool Breeze, because I know he had his hand up for a minute. Cool Breeze, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, what's going on, family? Newstoter and FBI Goddess and everybody else in the room.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, man. What's up, fam? Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack here. There's a lot of things going on. If you haven't really been paying attention on how they're trying to, they are these new laws against human trafficking and all that kind of stuff. They're treating sexual crimes like the drug crime epidemic, basically, in the 90s. So they're coming down, particularly on black men. They're trying to make the face of black men of the sexual crimes and everything. So they're making it really harsh. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the way they're making it seem like you're guilty until you're proven innocent. So, like FBI Goddess said, is to try to fight your case outside and inside. And another thing too, nobody's talking about, even a couple of years ago when all this stuff was going down in Hollywood with Tom Hanks and all these other known actors was being accused of pedophiles like Kevin Spacey. His victims are dead, or most of them, I should say. You know what I'm saying? He's out, out on enjoying doing movies now. So nobody's talking about these different types of white actresses and white business people that we're talking about Nickelodeon. They do the raise on these people. They just did a whole documentary about the owners of Nickelodeon. A bunch of those dudes, a bunch of fucking pedophiles. DHS ain't going after them. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to make black men the face of sexual crimes. And, when they started from the top, they're trying to make an example of, we've seen examples from Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, now it's going to trickle down to the average black man. So, you definitely want to, kind of prepare yourself for some things and stuff. And they're trying to make black men the face of sexual crimes. And I'm going to yield the mic.
All right. Appreciate that. Cool breeze.
I put the article in the Jumbotron as far as the lady that I was speaking about.
Okay, appreciate that. Real quick, I'm gonna get the black pressure, but let me read a comment that D on YouTube said. He says Negroes basically green light Diddy for state terror by promoting rumors and innuendo for 10 straight years. Black people gave Diddy up to the white man. You can indict a ham sandwich in America. He also says even now Negroes continue to promote rumors and innuendo for clicks. Black last. Negroes are doing their part to greenlight black men using sex crime laws, targeting them, just like the church supported Biden's crime bill in the 1990s. Yikes. D is over there. He's going off over there on YouTube. So let me go ahead and get the black pressure. Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic. What's going on tonight?
Hey, what's up, News? What's up, Black family? I ain't gonna do the roll call. Y'all know who you are. But just real quick, I'm gonna just say this real quick, and I'm gonna mute up and listen. Now the Homeland Security, just some insight. So I've been in Houston for 24 years now. But like I said before, I was born in Beaumont, my hometown. So when we grew up, the thing was when you turned 21, we would go over the border to Louisiana, to Lake Charles, Louisiana, and that's where all the casinos were. So that's about, that's about 35, 40 minutes into Louisiana from my hometown, right? So a lot of times it would be the Lake Charles Police Department, and it would be Homeland Security that would do traffic stop, like speed tickets and stuff like that. So what Homeland Security was looking for, that's I-10 right there. A lot of times it'd be a lot of illegals. You can really come in and out of Texas to Mexico real quick on I-10. They would do traffic. The Border Patrol would do, like speeding stops, and they would literally were just there to see who was illegal and who was transporting drugs. So I just want to kind of give a little insight real quick. A lot of times when you see Homeland Security / Border Patrol, it's an ulterior motive that they have, and I'll be up with this.
Appreciate that, Pressure. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to and let me read a comment real quick that No Taxation wrote. Shout out to No Taxation. She says, at Newstoter, just want to say you were right about Diddy. Only thing I said, No Taxation, and that was going back to that space we had, that when he signed that, when he went ahead and he did that settlement with Cassie, I just felt it was just opening up Pandora's box, especially when he first came out and said, yeah, this wasn't true. And then how quick that actual settlement took place. Within a couple of days after she came out and said something, he said, no, it didn't happen. The next thing you know, he was signing. I was like, oh boy. I said, this is going to open up Pandora's box right here. So, not talking about his guilt or his innocence. I just felt that, hey, if the fact that you went ahead and you just cashed them chips like that, best believe that you're going to have some other people coming out the woodwork, whether you did it or you didn't do it. You got an issue on your hands right here. And I just felt it wasn't going to be over with. I just felt that. And I still felt that when he went ahead and he signed that actual, he signed that settlement, he pretty much just opened the floodgate. Michael Jackson, one of the biggest regrets he had was when that first allegation, and Johnny Cochran even, I think, actually went back and thought about it. And he kind of even second guessed himself when they went ahead and settled that. All it did was just open up the floodgate for future people to come as well too. That was one of the big regrets that Michael Jackson had, that he settled that actual first case like that, because then it just emboldens other people. And that's not to say that Diddy's innocent. I just want to say that, but it's going to open the floodgate. I'm just being real like that. And I think that's what it is. So I wasn't trying to say that he was guilty or he was innocent or whatever, but I felt how quick when those allegations came out, how quick he responded. And then the next thing you know, and it was, I don't even think it was a whole week, was it? Maybe a week. And then that thing was settled like that. And even though he was like, yeah, this is not admitting any guilt and anything like that, I'm like, man, if there's anything else out there that's kind of sideways, man, you're gonna have some issues with it as well too. So that just was what I was saying. I wasn't saying that he was guilty, anything like that, but I just felt that by signing that actual lawsuit, by going ahead and doing that lawsuit, and if you were gonna settle with her, and apparently they had been talking behind the scenes or whatever, if you want to settle with her, man, you should have went ahead and settled before she went public. Like, all right, you know what, Cassie, you want $25 million? I'll go ahead and give you $25 million. Let's just go ahead and end this. But when you went ahead and you let Cassie go public, you denied it, then you came back, and then you said, you know what, here, Cassie, I'm going to give you the money, whatever. You could have just did that from the beginning, from behind the scenes. Like, hey, here you go, Cassie. I just want to keep this between us. I want to move on. You move on with your life and just call it at that. But he didn't do that. And now it's like I said, it's to this point right here that, it just Pandora's box is open. It's wide open right now. You got a man sitting up here saying this stuff about you as well, too. So, there's all kind of stuff that really, man, it's hard to put this back in. It's hard to put this back in the closet right here. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. I see Black Majority State up here as well, too. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Newstoter, FBA Goddess, DJ. Shout out to the room. This has been very, very interesting to watch this unfold, just to hear everybody's perspectives. But you kind of see the impact of, that law enforcement policies have with the Black community. We know kind of a lot of stereotypes and tactics that are used, and normally the brush is painted so heavily, on all Black men. And I just want to say this, just because R. Kelly and Diddy have issues, they're not a representation of all Black men. And I heard a lot of our brothers get on stage and kind of say that, but I need you to detach from their behaviors, because and I'm going to say if, or allegedly right now, because an investigation has to be underway, but I'm also going to paint the picture. Diddy has always been, Diddy and Andre Harrell, and was it Quincy Jones? And there was always a discussion about how they were groomed, and how Andre Harrell was actually groomed by Quincy Jones, and then Andre Harrell groomed Diddy. The other thing is Jaguar Wright came out, and she was speaking about a lot of the stuff that was happening in the industry, and she had spoke a lot about the things that Diddy did to a lot of men. So did Christopher Williams. There was the story about Christopher Williams in a part of his career where he apparently went to Diddy because he needed to, get himself back, off the ground and stuff like that. And someone walked in on him giving Diddy fellatio for him to try to revive his career. And
this is allegedly, though, right?
Allegedly.
Okay, I just want to put that out there.
That's why I said allegedly earlier. But Christopher Williams has never been the same. So when we talk about a lot of these things, and we are trying to attach ourselves, I understand why Black men do it. It's the same reason Black women do. We see ourselves in other Black women, even if they are, I'm not saying I'm a hoe or anything, but even when you have men that talk about things that Black women do that are degenerate behavior, it is the animate mirror. And then you try to attach yourself to those particular things and take that on as if that is a monolith type thing, that somehow you all do those things. And you have to push back on that, because if R. Kelly didn't have the women he had that was locked up, and the men who came out about he was sexualizing, there would be no case. They gave these people the ammunition to go after them because they thought that they were untouchable. They thought they had enough clout, money, and people around them that would stay hushed, and they weren't. R. Kelly was grooming young girls. Now, if you're a Black man and that's what you're into, and you see yourself doing that, then I see why you're trying to defend R. Kelly. If you are a Black man and you see yourself trying to snuffle or stifle all of the people that have come out against you, especially, I believe, allegedly, his wife did not, or ex-wife, excuse me, Kim Porter did not catch pneumonia. She was going to do a tell-all book because that's why I'll Be Sure was so adamant about what happened to her. And next, you know, he gets sick and end up in the hospital. It's not a coincidence. These are not coincidence. This is what happens when people misuse their power. What you're seeing is karma coming back because they did not put out good energy in the people that were around them. So the people and the ancestors are returning what they put out in the universe. It is coming back. And honestly, we can talk about all the black men who ain't never committed a crime that don't even have this much evidence of information surrounding them, and yet they still are locked up. We can have that conversation. But what I get tired of is I get tired of our black men and women attaching themselves to degenerate behavior when we know it's wrong, when we know that we really should have been doing something ourselves about it and detaching ourselves from the behavior from the beginning and developing ways to kind of push some people out of our community, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to be one of R. Kelly's women locked up in a house somewhere while other men guard the house, or my child, or knowing that a family took a young underage daughter to go see R. Kelly, and he somehow took to her and groomed her, or he was at high school games after a girl who he literally manipulated, and she got on a video saying that she was in love underage from the time she was 12. So you can't get that stuff out of your head. You really have to start to be like, listen, that's not what black men do. That's not what real men who protect their communities, who are providing, and who are also about rebuilding and healing their communities. That's not what I see those black men doing. And those two black men are two black men of many. That don't have to be your story. And so it's really sad. It's really sickening, because there was something about Cassie. There was something about Cassie with the white polish, and there was another white guy that just came out, and they were doing a story about him. I don't know if it was Hugh Hefner or one of them other white men that they hung around, or if it was Oprah's best friend that she ain't ever did a movie on, that went to jail, that had the golf balls on his walker. What was his name again?
Talk about Weinstein, right?
Weinstein. So they were talking about how the girls, the white girls, the young underage white girls had white nail polish. That somehow this was some sort of like thing that these men liked. And I'm going to say this. If it comes out that Diddy did those things and he flew out of the country, like somebody mentioned Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons frauded so many people with that rush car stuff. And then on top of that, he was dealing with underage people. He met Kimora when she was underage and modeling. So it's like, when we really have these conversations, people kind of skip over that because they trying to somehow put these guys in positions of what happens to men who are in jail, who have not committed a crime, or black men in the community who are not celebrities, who do get attacked on a daily basis. Diddy's not going through that. Diddy's been able to live his life. He's been able to run around just like Russell Simmons. They have money to run from the things that they do, to carry and protect them. They were talking about Diddy there's a police officer that he had on payroll that was taking care of stuff. So when I really, really, really get down to the brass tacks, and you just observe and you start to look at all the pieces, I don't look at them like I look at our men in the community. Like my dad, my brothers, or people I grew up in the community that may have had a run-in with the law and stuff. I don't look at them like that because they have the option to protect themselves in a certain way. If they go to jail or if they don't go to jail, they can bail themselves out. They have protection. R. Kelly ran from the law for a long time. Separate the man from his music. Did he create wonderful music? Heck yes. Baby making music, love making music, jamming music, old school. He is a musical genius. But when you talk about him, the man, the personal him on the outside that deals with his relationships with people, that shit was effed up. Nightmare effed up. And if you want to defend that, I'm going to side-eye you because I'm like, I know for a fact the men that I've been in rooms with, I'm hearing y'all talk, y'all don't do that stuff. Y'all don't behave that way. That's not what I'm hearing coming from your spirit and your soul. You're not the same. So that's I'm going to land it, then I'm going to put it like that. Jaguar White, I think, got an interview, and yeah, she been in and out of jail too or whatever. But again, these people have issues because there are things that they've seen, been around, drugs and all kind of stuff going on in the industry, and y'all all know that. And at the end of the day, Russell Simmons, Diddy, Andre, Quincy, and R. Kelly, they're not our men. And if we do have those type of people in our community, they have to be snuffed out and they need to be excommunicado because it's protection. It's protection is what we need. Diddy is not the representation of black men. And don't make him. Do not make him your martyr. All right, Alan.
I'm going to say this real quick, Rella. I don't think anybody in here is making Diddy, and I know you put R. Kelly in there too, making Diddy a martyr. You know, people simply saying that, you know, and I said it myself when the information, when the thing came out with the Cassie, and he went ahead and he settled that quick. I said in the space, I said, you know what? I said, Diddy just opened the floodgate, whether he did it or he didn't do it. And I think for the most part, we've been saying we don't know if he did it or he didn't do it. We are using him as an example because he is a black man. We don't know if he, and you know, everybody has a right, you know, to a fair trial. Whether you think that person did it or didn't do it, everybody based off of the law in America, everybody has a right to a fair trial. So I don't know if Diddy did or didn't do it. I'll say this right here. You know, if he did it, they're going to put him in jail. If he comes back, you know, if he comes back to the country, if they get a chance to put Diddy in jail, they're going to go ahead and they're going to put him in jail. This stuff here that we started hearing about with Cassie last year, or this year, whatever, we started hearing all this stuff about Cassie and this and that or whatever. You know, I never heard all of that stuff. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I'm not a huge Puffy fan or whatever, but you know, I never heard about all of the stuff that started coming out in these documents or whatever. All of this stuff right here. So you know, I didn't know exactly outside of seeing Puffy on TV and you know, hearing some of the music that Bad Boy produced and stuff like that or whatever. So I couldn't really speak to it or whatever. We're hearing about all this stuff now, talking about sex trafficking and this and that or whatever. We never heard about that stuff before. We didn't know about it or whatever. Nobody knew about it. Now, those in the industry may have known about it. I heard some whisperings about it, but the average Joe Smo like us that's not connected to anybody, we didn't know about it. So if you got other rappers like 50 and some of the other people saying this and saying that or whatever, because you know the stuff about R. Kelly, apparently everybody in the industry who was quiet all that time started to, oh yeah, well I seen up in the studio he was with this person, or I seen he was with that person, whatever. They didn't say anything the whole time as well too. So I never heard anything about Puffy to the level with the stuff that we're hearing now. I have to just go ahead and say that. And I'm saying that based off American history, you have had innocent black men where all kind of evidence looked against them, stacked against them, and decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take off or whatever. Now, I'm not comparing him to that. I'm just saying that you have had those cases like that as well too. So, you know, I don't know exactly if what he did, what he didn't do. I'm gonna be honest. I know very little about Cassie. I remember when she had the little song out or whatever. I couldn't name you one song that Cassie sung. You know, to be honest, I don't know anything like that or whatever. I know you were saying something about the Kim Porter thing too, and to me, you know, Kim Porter was. I know you said his ex-wife, but she was actually. I don't think they were ever married, even though they had kids from each other. You know, I don't know exactly what went on in Kim Porter's situation since she died. You started to hear more things about it. I know she was supposed to do a tell-all book, but the minute that woman died, you know, people started saying, "Well, he did this to, he did that, or whatever. He did this, he did that," without any kind of proof. Now, if you're gonna sit up here and somebody's gonna say, "Well, he had this woman whacked or whatever," then go ahead and provide some proof of that. It was the same way when Floyd Mayweather's baby mom died of the first two kids. You had people sitting online telling about Floyd had her whacked and stuff like that. Not a shred of evidence or proof, but simply because people can't stand Floyd Mayweather, they sitting up here saying that he had the woman that had his children iced. So I'm saying if people are going to say stuff like that, then they need to go ahead and provide some proof and not just say, because, you know, deep down inside, I don't like this person, I don't trust this person, I'm going to go ahead and say this or whatever, with not a shred of evidence, without a shred of proof. You know, too many times stuff like you have people sitting up here with this silly stuff talking about this person was sacrificed, this was a sacrificial lamb and this and that, whatever. And I say, well, go ahead and prove it. Go ahead and give us some of your sources, some of your evidence, anything like that. And people don't do that. So I don't know for a fact, you know, about Puffy's private life. I'm just hearing about this stuff. People say, well, they've been talking about Puffy for the past X amount of years and stuff like that. His life wasn't poured out like this, because if people had been talking about Puffy like this for the past 5-10 years, he wouldn't have been getting all those lifetime achievement awards and all this other kind of stuff as well too. So this stuff that we're hearing about him, this stuff is new. You know, this stuff is new. So I'm just being real about it. Don Dapper said it's not about the color of our skin, it's about abusing people. Stop with all the mess. No, you stop with all the mess. No, not one person sat up here and said, hey, it's okay to go ahead and abuse somebody and mistreat people or this and that or whatever. So stop with all that stuff right here. Don't put words in the people's mouth. We didn't say anything. Not one person in this space, not one man got up here and say, you know what? If he did do it, he deserves a walk. They shouldn't do anything to him. So nobody even said nothing like that. All I'm simply saying is, hey, you're innocent until proven guilty. You know, so I don't know if the man did this or he didn't do it. Everybody's saying he fled, he did this, he did that. But here's the thing. He hasn't been criminally charged either. So he can leave the country. It's not like it's not like it was against the law for him to leave the United States of America. He hasn't been charged with a crime yet. Now, he may be Jack the Ripper for all I know. I don't know. And based off of this, what somebody sent me, I think it was CR. He sent this thing that Jason Black just tweeted out. It says, the plot thickens, and now saying that this is connected to a 2020 shooting allegation. So the feds, from what they saying, I guess they did this raid on his house. This is somehow connected to some kind of 2020 shooting allegation as well, too. So I don't know exactly what Puffy may or may not be into. I guess we'll find out as well too. But you know, like I say, black men, black women, for whatever reason, they do sit up here and they do tend to support their people or whatever. Don Dapper, you say Cassie got a bag for a reason. A lot of people get a bag for a reason. And that's not to say Cassie didn't go through some stuff as well too. And that's not to say she didn't deserve that bag as well too. You know, so I don't know exactly what the involvement of their relationship was. I wasn't there, so I couldn't speak on it or whatever. I know Cassie was also, they were talking about, people were saying, you know, if she had been through all this, why not go to the authorities and file charges and this and that as well too. So let's not forget that part as well too. But I said we got some hands up, so let me get the Black majority state. Black, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. How's everybody in the space? Great space, of course. Diddy did it. And here's the thing. I remember in my early truck driving years when I was on the East Coast and I could pick up New York radio, and Wendy Williams and Charlemagne the God had their little afternoon, drive show. And she called him the devil. This is in New York City. You know what I mean? She had nothing but disdain for him, and she made it very, very clear. And she aired out a lot of his
impropriety even on the radio. And she did it fearlessly, to be quite honest. So people in New York know, the streets know. They say the streets talk. Well, the streets been talking about this dude for a long, long time. Now, he's had every opportunity, access, wealth, networks within governments and on every layer, local, state, and federal. He's been in the Obama White House and photographed and laughing and chuckling with Obama. So he had every ability to do things at a very high level. I don't know. I don't see anybody in space that really gets into this whole underworld that goes on. Someone mentioned Nickelodeon. If you know about what happens in Disney, if you know about what happens in Hollywood in general. And then yes, in the hip hop industry, unfortunately, these people who are the top, and I'm not going to call them gatekeepers because they're really sitting on top, although they got people above them. Let's be clear, they've been establishing the same kind of, I'm going to use the word occultism, within the rap music industry. Very, very clearly, and there's so much evidence that when the feds get involved, see, here's the thing about the feds. The feds do not lose. They do not lose. So when they come, they've got all the receipts, they got all the evidence. You're really in a position where now you have to negotiate what the sentence is going to be. And they usually plead out because the evidence is so overwhelming. I believe they hit 2 of his houses, one on East Coast. I'm not sure if it's Miami or New York. Definitely the California house. The fact that he got in a plane and left the country, well, he was, in my opinion, the same amount of fuel it took him to get to.
There's a report saying.
Hey, hold on, DJ. Zay, hold on 1 second. Let Black Majority State finish speaking. Stay on your mic, and we'll get to you. Go ahead, Black.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So the report of his plane leaving the country, if he's not on it, so be it. However, the point that I was going to make, if he's really trying to duck these charges, he needs to be in a country that has a non-extradition with the United States in the same amount of fuel that it took to get his plane out of the country. He could have been in Russia or some other country where, they wouldn't have been able to put hands on him. He's a grown man, and he did what he did, and he did it for a very long time. And so as a grown man, he has to face the consequences of enjoying the life that he enjoyed. These celebrities, to be quite honest, have been hinting around it, and it's kind of been tongue in cheek, but the reality is that they all know what's going on, and they're all in that position where if you burn or you make enemies with one of these people, because how these contracts work and how these agencies work, they're all on the same team. So if you affect one person on that team, this is why you see people saying negative things about one person, and then a couple of days later they retract it, because you're cutting off your ability to earn a living, because really nobody's just one person by themselves in the way this industry is set up and established. They either got the same agent, or they got, the same company, production company that they work with, or whatever it is. It's a very small circle, and so that's how they keep these people controlled. The last thing I want to say is this: to all of the money baggers, the money chasers, the people who got enormous wealth and did absolutely nothing to improve or benefit Black America as a collective in any way, shape, or form. They didn't write a bill. They didn't open up a hospital. They didn't open up a school. They did absolutely nothing, even for the people in their own community. Man, let the rapture happen for those people. I could care less. I'm going to just sit back and watch the show, but I have no pity. I will cry no tears for this man. And, the universe does what the universe does. And I'll end with that.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Black Majority State. Let me go ahead. DJ, is that DJ X?
I wasn't next. Respectfully, I wasn't next.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you get it in since you're a new speaker, though.
I definitely appreciate it. I just want to make 4 quick points. Can I touch on plain things? So a new report just came out. His house getting raided today doesn't mean he was arrested or anything like that or charged. He was just detained and questioned, and they went through the house and looked at some stuff. But there's reports that he's never left the country, and that plane that everybody is kind of tracking, they grounded and he wasn't on it. So I think that he was questioned in Miami or he was questioned in New York. I think was where he was reportedly headed to. The second thing I want to say is there was a grotto found in his California home.
You said a what? I'm sorry, you kind of low. Can you speak a little bit louder?
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to Bluetooth too, man. You want to get off real quick. That should be a little bit better. But they said that they found a grotto in his California home. But this is outside of the stuff that they found. This is the things that kind of I'm looking at. So when it comes to the industry, and you kind of spoke on this earlier, News. Who else is going to be affected by this? Because when I look at some of the podcasts, and I don't know if you guys are sitting on YouTube and stuff like that, and looking at some of the podcasts that some of these other artists or some that are sitting down having, but they tell brief stories. They don't get too far into depth about it. They tell brief stories about their experience and everything. So I'm wondering if some of the stuff that they were looking for is going to be, or was today, some of the evidence that might point towards some of that stuff too, whether footage is on USB, because I think that what has given Diddy leverage for this long is dirt that he has on some of these other artists. And one or two things that I see is going to either happen is we're going to either start finding out about some of the people that we sing and love and go to concerts and spend all this money on, or we're going to find out who's been victimized by this man in ways that I don't think anybody really wants to sit around the coffee table or dinner table and have conversations about family. But I appreciate the time, man. I definitely appreciate the dialogue going on, and I'll drop down.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you for coming up here. Let's go ahead and get to Black Pressure, Cool Breeze, and Rella. I see them as well, too.
All right, knows I'm back. Couple of things, right? I might go over my little 30 seconds that I always use. But check this out. I was having a conversation with a Black woman at work, and she made the parallel about how quick Puffy settled with Cassie, and her deduction was that, well, he's obviously guilty. And I kind of touched on what you touched on, News. I said Michael Jackson also settled with his accuser. Is he a pedophile? Of course, she couldn't answer that. But I'm going to move on to my next point. So I've been in this room for about, I don't know, a year and a half, over a year, right? And even though it sounds weird, even though we never met each other, I consider most of the people in the room family. We argue, laugh, agree, disagree, all that different type of stuff. But I'll say this too. I've heard Black women in this room give the most eloquent explanation on how white supremacy works and how white supremacy has victimized Black men for centuries. And I'm not being facetious or anything. Really, really, really respect the Black women here. They definitely really have an inside understanding on how white supremacy works now. But where my frustration lies is the minute it's time to villainize a black man, a lot of Black women get right in line with them white folks, and they all of a sudden forget how white supremacy works. Because, like I say, the conversation I had with my female coworker today, and of course I was being sarcastic, but I told her, I was like, it's really unheard of for the American justice system to falsely accuse a black man of sexual degeneracy. And I was like, they didn't do it to Emmett Till. They didn't do it to Purvis Payne. They didn't do it to George Steinbeck Jr., Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, Michael Irvin, Nate Parker, Bill Cosby, Jack Johnson, Martin Luther King Jr. The justice system never did this to a black man, a powerful black man, or a black man in the public eye. I say, man, this is a shocker to me that you hear a rich and famous black man get accused of sexual degeneracy. Of course, she didn't want any part of that conversation. That was fine, because I definitely, I kind of went overboard, but I was being sarcastic. But moving on to my next point, if you look at post-slavery in this country, and like I said, we could go all the way back to 1865 when black people were freed from the plantation. America needed a vote, and for the next 160 years, America, through their print media and through when technology evolved through their electronic media, they literally propagandized and caricatured black men with those two platforms that you could, if you, like I said, if you want to be a lazy historian and go Google post-slavery, when black men were able to start working and get jobs, they would release these flyers and put them all over whatever said town, and watch out for the black men, and they keep your women in the house. They're gonna rape a white woman, and if they smoke weed or they sniff cocaine, they literally turn into monsters. And watch black men there from their sexual predators. This has never ever stopped, and like I said, it frustrates me when America steadily for the last 2 centuries repeats this process. Black women get right in line with the white folks, and forget about what white supremacy does. Forget about how white supremacy treats us. Like I said earlier in the tweet, hang them high. And I'll touch on, let me see, Jaguar Wright and Wendy Williams. News of those 2 women aren't the biggest hack jobs. I don't know who is. I would not spit on those 2 women if they were on fire. And moving on to the Illuminati and the infant sacrifice and the blood rituals. Let's be honest, Noodles. We could look in entertainment. We can look in education. We can look in the justice system, law enforcement. We could look at all those different institutions. Black men or black women, whoever, they can do all the Illuminati sacrifices and all that other BS people claim. You know what the constant is? Black people are at the bottom in all those institutions. So what does it gain us to join these secret societies? It doesn't change our position in them. You know what I'm saying? And I heard somebody mention karma. Karma is coming back on Diddy, right? If you take the demographic of white people have raped, robbed, and murdered everyone in the globe since day one. And you know what karma did to them? They gave them the world to run. And you telling me karma came back to a black man that's getting accused of some shit that's never been proved so far? That's how karma works. But I'll mute up and listen.
Alrighty. Conversation is definitely starting to heat up in here, guys. For those that want to speak, definitely come on up here and speak. For those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you don't have a Cash App, we have a Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. For those on YouTube, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal in the description. Also, guys, we have the Newstoter membership. You guys on YouTube, you can see that on the screen. Click that link and become a supporter of Newstoter monthly for as little as $1.75. We have the link on the actual on the actual screen. For those in the space, we have that membership link up in the Jumbotron for as little as $1.75. You could become a supporter of Newstoter. So definitely, we need that support. Support Black media. We got about 100 people in here. Let's see if we can at least get a couple new subscribers to the platform, guys. Let's see if we can get at least 2-3 subscribers to the platform. But if you can, go ahead and become a Newstoter member. Become a Newstoter member. If you can't, then you can support us on Cash App, Black Media. We definitely need your support. Let me go ahead and get the Cool Breeze, Rella, and then I got you, Black Majority State, as well.
Hey, what's going on, fam? I want to reiterate or iterate what you said earlier. Add to what Brother Black Fresh was saying. Some of these things, like nobody's, like you said, nobody's defending Diddy at all, or any type of dentistry in the entertainment business, because whether it's the music industry or the Hollywood or whatever, it's all kinds of degenerate stuff going on there. And then when they, when they go to these crazy private parties or whatnot, there's a lot of paperwork. I want to say paperwork, NDAs, right? You can't even bring no nothing, right? And it's invitation only. So, so we're a lot of going into the details of what Diddy did or didn't do, right? Nobody's here to defend the man, because he did there's a lot of things that he's done people wrong, and except there's a lot of things that's going on with him that he has done people wrong, and the facts are going to come out. He's going to get his just due sooner or later, whatever that case may be. But the thing is, you have these white people, white men. Tom Hanks left the country. He went to Greece, where he went to when he was being accused of being a pedophile. He's still getting movie offers. You know what I'm saying? You got all of these kind of different white actresses and stuff like that. When a lot of this stuff was coming down the pipe, a lot of times, and now is now the direction is trying to put black people at the face of this. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying is that, yeah, Diddy is not the face of black man, period. But we all know how white supremacy works. Just because a person is black, they want to utilize as that person as a token Negro to make an example out of. There's many cases. We can go down a list. R. Kelly, right? R. Kelly said that his sister raped him. So, is law enforcement going after R. Kelly's sister? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things until we have the information. What I'm saying? At the end of the day, he's going to get his just due. And, so I just want to reiterate what you had said earlier. So with that, I'm going to yell the mic.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Cool Breeze. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you, Newstoter. I appreciate the accolades, Black Pressure, but I also understand what you're saying. And again, this goes back to exactly what I said earlier. I don't think it's that we jump behind white supremacy and we don't believe black men. I think that we've been put in a position where we're supposed to ignore people who do criminality and who commit crimes or allegedly commit crimes, and there is evidence, and then sweep it all under the rug because we know white supremacy does exist. And you're right. White supremacy, slave owners, people who went and lynched a whole bunch of people, they have never been brought to their knees because we have never given them back their karma the way they've harmed us. We've never given it back to them in that way. So with what's happening to one man, that brush can't be painted for a bunch of people all at one time, and you expect a whole bunch of people to just go out and start purging a whole bunch of people. That's not going to happen. But what is structurally already put together for people who do commit certain things, they are always on the prowl and ready for you. And again, those stories for those people are not the people who are innocent. If you don't think that Chagwell Wright who had proximity and was in rooms with Diddy, and people that knew Diddy have more knowledge than we do. Okay, well, we can split hairs on that if you want to, but I'm going to take the word of somebody that's in the industry. If you calling Wendy Williams, a crackpot, we can split hairs on that, but I'm going to tell you what, Diddy threatened her life. And that's the streets know that. Matter of fact, his bodyguard, who actually came out and talked about all of the things Diddy has done after he won his award at I think the NAACP gave him an award, or what was it, Source, one of them. Just because you get an award don't mean that you haven't committed a crime. A lot of people won awards. Harvey Weinstein won awards, and he committed crimes. So at the end of the day, again, it goes back to this catch-22 that we're always being put in, is that we're supposed to ignore people who harm our communities that look like us because they look like us, and we know that there is always this predator out to get black men, young boys. And I say no, because there's predators of black women and black men that do things that deserve to be under the jail, and some of them do deserve their life to be ended because of the things that they do. And I can compartmentalize that. I can literally speak to that. If his bodyguard, who was with him every day, who did a full interview about the things that happened to him, he even talked about the nights leading up to Kim Porter's death. He talked about why Biggie was about to leave, and right before that, all of a sudden, this shooting happened when he was going to LA. Because right before that, he had a meeting with Diddy, letting him know that he wanted out his contract and he wanted his money. And that is on coming out of the bodyguard's mouth. He has always, and Gene said that he always blamed Diddy for some things that happened because of the way he acted. So from 1995, from when Diddy got on the scene, 1991, this says 1991, post this article, to 2023, he's had more settlements than Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson didn't want to settle a case because he was being brought up on charges for being a predator, because he liked being around kids. Is there psychologically something wrong with an adult who likes to be around kids and play with kids? To some people, yes, that's wrong. But you have daycare workers and things like that. The way Michael Jackson was with kids, it was already put out there that he didn't harm nobody. He didn't harm nobody's kids. That's not years and years and years list long of things that have been done that Puffy has done. You should be able to separate the two. And trying to compare Michael Jackson to Puffy, there's no comparison. None whatsoever. There's none. Their personalities are not even the same. They're not even the same people. So at the end of the day, if you're looking for people to have a conversation and to protect, I think, the essence of black men, and to protect black men's image when it comes to white supremacy, black women do it all day long. Do you have other black women who talk about their disdain to certain issues and things that we see in relationships? Yes, you do. But from a majority of the standpoint, black women are always going to protect the image of black men and our black people, because you are a mirror of us. We have sons, we have fathers, uncles, grandfathers. So again, one woman does not, speak for all women, but the majority is always going to be the one that's going to protect our community. just like the majority of men are always going to speak up and protect our community. One man does not speak for you. One man is not your mirror. He's not your equal. So again, trying to put on that jacket, trying to wear it because it might feel good at the moment, it's a bad move. It's a psychological warfare that we constantly are in. And I need us to get out of that psychosis. Degeneracy is degeneracy. And if you get caught up in some shit and you get done away.
Language.
I'm sorry, excuse my language. And we can clearly see, because we know that we've stood up for people who have, even when George Floyd was murdered, when people, Candace Owens came out, was talking about him being on drugs, I wouldn't care if he was on drugs. He was openly murdered on film, just like all of our children, all of our boys and girls, regardless of what their life was like. That's not happening to Diddy. That's not happening to Andre Harrell. That ain't happening to Quincy Jones. That ain't happening to them. So, no.
Okay, how did Quincy Jones, not to cut you off, but how did Quincy Jones get caught up in this conversation?
Quincy Jones, because I talked about Quincy Jones was Andre Harrell's.
Yeah, but I haven't, I haven't heard anything about Quincy Jones doing all of this kind of stuff here now.
Hey, News, let me get a 20-second response.
I'm just being real. I mean.
Okay, so all I'm going to say is, just even if you haven't heard, again, Quincy Jones was Andre Harrell's mentor. Andre Harrell mentored Diddy. So the things that the allegedly was happening was a grooming process from one to the other. Andre Harrell groomed Diddy, Diddy groomed Usher, and so goes the story. That's the alleged story.
I'm glad you said alleged story, because like I say, Quincy Jones has been in music for what, 60, 70 years. So I mean, where's this whole long list of all these men and stuff that he groomed and stuff as well?
So you're going to have to do some research. I already put out Gene's name. There's other people that'll come up and you'll hear them talking about it. And then you make your own decision. All I'm going to say is, I'm putting out there my opinion from the things that I've read, the things that I've seen and listened to people say, and the actions of what I've seen Diddy do throughout the years, pretty much, that I've been alive to see it. And so...
But I'm saying, Rella, let me ask you a question real quick, and then I'm gonna go to the next speaker, and I'm gonna ask you this question real quick. You were saying that Diddy, he's been out since 91. Okay, we really, in terms of actually really knowing who Diddy was, really 93, 94 is when Bad Boy really started to take off and stuff like that. Now, I'm just saying in terms of the stuff with the actual all of the, and I'm not talking about cheating people on record deals and stuff like that, but I'm saying in terms.
I'm only talking about settlements.
But I'm saying, when did you start first hearing about these settlements? You heard about these settlements in the 90s?
No, I'm saying these are in writing. It's in writing in all of the court cases that he's been in, things that have happened surrounding him.
Well, what I'm trying to say, really, because when we start, and I said that before, I'm saying now, I didn't hear about all of this stuff. I'm talking about the trafficking, supposedly the quote unquote the trafficking, and all these other things in terms of relationship until Cassie came out with it. So I'm saying, when did you first start hearing about Diddy possibly doing sex trafficking, possibly doing this and doing that?
Sex trafficking, that's the term that's being put out now. That was not the conversation. This wasn't a sex trafficking thing. It was only sexual harassment, like the stuff he would do to certain men to kind of control them, and the things that he did to women. That was it. This new term that's coming out because of the feds and all of that, that's new. That's now. But everything else has always been in the streets. It's always been. And if you have not pulled your research on Diddy, then maybe that's what has to happen. But again, I've already been watching most of this stuff. And I'm not the only one. So if it's true and it comes out that is true, then that's what it is. If it isn't true and it comes out, I stand corrected. But at the end of the day, if his bodyguard, who was close to him, like I said, put it out on Front Street, his experience and the stuff that was happening, then I'm going to take his word until he's proven wrong and until everybody else is proven wrong. And it's going to be that. Because those people are in proximity to Diddy. We're not.
Hey, News, I just a quick response when Miss Rilla is done. That's it.
All right, go ahead real quick, and then I'm going to get the Black Majority State and other speakers.
Thank you. This is what I'm saying, real quick. Look, and I'm going to include myself in it, but this is for the all the Black family in the room, right? This is what it ultimately boils down to, right? Think about a criminal case in court where somebody's getting charged with murder, right? And you have to go in court and you have to prove it, right? So the prosecution can come in with DNA. The prosecution can come with surveillance camera footage. The prosecution can come in, hey, your cell phone pinged right here, right where the murder occurred. You know, you were right here when it happened. All this different stuff you can come in with proof, right? And like I said, I'm going to include myself in here. This stuff with Diddy, you can believe until you wet your clothes with sweat. You can hope all you want that he's guilty, and he may be guilty of whatever. But ultimately, you know what it boils down to? The only reason that you believe whatever you believe about Diddy is because somebody said it, because nobody in here can prove anything. All you're doing is believing what people said. Now mute up and listen.
All right, let me go ahead and get to Black Majority State. Black, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay. And shout out to Black. Make sure I get the Black. And it's all. Oh, so the last thing you just mentioned, that's called eyewitness testimony, and that has convicted a lot of people. The system kind of depends on it. So if you are a direct witness to a crime or a victim, your testimony does convict in this country. So just to kind of clear that up. There was a video that I watched, and probably last week, it just popped up in my YouTube feed. It's a weird looking white man. Just a weird looking white guy. He's probably gay, to be quite honest. He's on some white woman's show, and they're talking, and the subject of Diddy comes up, and he relates an eyewitness testimony that he was at some party, and there was a bunch of mainly white people there, or like a mix, white and black. And he said he ended up going into a room, some room far off in the back in this mansion, and it was all men in there engaging in sexual activity with each other. And I locked eyes with Diddy in this situation. I'll try to find that, put it down in the purple pill or whatever. So that is eyewitness testimony. Now, that's not a crime. Obviously, that's just adult behavior, engaging in whatever you're engaging in. But there are enough of those eyewitness testimonies out there from people who really, they're just relaying what they saw. And probably at the threat of some type of harm, again, because of the way these agencies and contracts and companies all work together, you can be whiteballed out of the industry. And that's literally what I believe Rella was talking about with the leverage that you have over people, is you could literally whiteball people out of money earning opportunities. But the last time you spoke, you talked about karma. So for me, I looked at this European race as a genetic mutation, because that's what the science says. They've only been on the planet for roughly 7,000 years. That's what the science says. So they don't have the same spiritual frequency that black melanated people have. So when we talk about karma, for whatever you want to call those people, demons, whatever, doesn't really matter, they may not be connected to the same universe, spirituality, frequency, karma, whatever you want to call it, that melanated beings are. Obviously, as you stated, and I wholeheartedly agree, that they've been able to do demonic, devilish, satanic things for thousands of years, and seemingly there is no punishment for that. I agree with that wholeheartedly, but it could be because they're not actually connected into the universal system that everybody else is, the melanated people. And so I just wanted to kind of throw that in there because I agree. I've questioned that infinite times in my mind. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense if you kind of understand where their place is in the universe. And so I just wanted to add that.
All right. Thank you, Black. Let me go ahead and get to Trouble. Trouble, what's up?
Hey, well, Rella pretty much came up on the stage and pretty much said everything that I was going to say, so there's not really much for me to say left. I will say this here. There needs to be a time when we can come into these spaces like this here and have a discussion about the allegations against someone, whether it's a black man or a black woman, and have an open, honest dialogue about how we feel. Everything is subjected to our opinion until further proof comes out in a court of law. So we're just stating our opinion, and there's never a situation where we should be trying to invalidate each other's thoughts or opinions by stating that, you know, you have to have some sort of proof. I don't need to have proof to have an opinion. At the same time, when is it that a black woman who births black men can have an opinion about a black man who's bringing degeneracy to our community without someone making it seem like we're trying to persecute all black men and this is against all black men, when it's not. It's against this one individual who's brought degeneracy. When are other men going to hold these men accountable? With or without proof. Okay, you want to wait for proof? That's all well and that's all good too. You wait for proof. But the allegations have been out there for years, which is really just kind of what I feel like we're speaking on. So there's got to be some type of accountability. Because, see, I sit on this, when I come on this app and I look down my news feed all day long, I'm going to keep it 100% real with you. I see black women, men saying, when are black women going to be held accountable? When are you going to hold each other accountable? Accountability. That's what I hear and see all day long. But when we get in these spaces and it just happens to be a black man and a black woman speaking on us, we're compared to the system of white supremacy, saying that we're upholding it when we're speaking on the degeneracy of one individual. Not all of our brothers, this one individual. Now, if you are a person, whether you're a black man or you're a black woman, and you're bringing degeneracy to our community, that means that you're being degenerate towards others in our community. So are we supposed to uphold you and look over the degeneracy and the harm that you are bringing to others in our community just because we want to hold you up and don't want to keep you from being, getting that work you're supposed to get? But what about the other people in our community that you're bringing harm to? Are we supposed to forget about them? So I just ask for us to just, not do that in these conversations. It's a little annoying, and it seems that we tend to go there all the time. And I just really want to be able to conversate about, did he do it? Did he didn't do it? And hear your opinions about it without, one particular group of us, whether it's a black man or a black woman, having to feel like, we kind of being put on blast for having an opinion about it. I'm not going to hold up a brother in my community when I see he's harming black women and say, well, he is, but he's a black man, so I don't want to do A, B, and C. I'm not going to do the same thing with a black woman who's causing harm to our brothers within the community. I'm not going to do that for her either. If you're causing harm to multiple people in our community, it needs to be called out. We got to weed you out. We got to get you out the paint, straight up, tighten up. And we have to tighten up as a people and stop holding these degenerates up as if they're doing our community some good when they're causing more harm than they are doing good. Now, I don't know whether the brother is innocent. I don't know whether the brother is guilty. I know the optics of it. I know what's been being said about him over the years. I know my opinion of him. I don't like Diddy. I'm be 100% honest with him, so I don't feel no ways about it. That's what I stated the first time I spoke. I don't feel no ways about it. But to keep saying, well, they're not doing that over there with the white folks. We already know that. And white folks get they they get their karma in different ways. And Black spoke eloquently about that when he said he's been wondering that for a long time now, because I've been wondering that too. But sometimes what I see when it comes to the white folks and their karma, sometimes you live to be an old coulda, and you have all kind of bad things happen to you. You be done lost everybody in your life, and you out there on your own, and you old enough to feel that pain by the time you're old and decrepit. And that's sometimes how they get theirs. They get theirs in many different forms. They go crazy. They family side each other. They do a lot of things to get their karma back. We just don't see it because it ain't for us to see. That ain't our conversation. That ain't our focus. I'm going to stay about white folks' business and let them get their work how they get it. My concentration and my focus is on my people and uplifting us and making us better people. Damn the mother folks. I land right there.
All right. Thank you, Trouble. Let me go ahead and get the talent. Talent, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, peace and love, family.
Hey, what's up now?
Man, good evening to everybody. And very important conversation for us to have in the community. And I'll start with something that one of the young brothers said to me about another situation, but he said it and it made me think. He said, we the grandfathers and the grandmothers, sometimes more is expected of us, just in general. And it really kind of had me think about what Black Majority said just now about, how long are we or have we been on this planet, and how long have others been on this planet? Because, we are the moral compass of the world, and I think, we can't pick and choose that. I think there's something innately in our spirit that just is that, right? We might be in a convenient position 100 years. The essence, the spirit, the bloodline, who we are is not brand new. We are the fathers and the mothers of civilization. So I often say we're going to be judged more because we know better. It's like we're the older ones. Our DNA, our line's been here longer than these other folks. And we've had to, on many points in times, had to civilize these other people. So, what I don't necessarily expect the same from them, right? Because they've already normalized their madness, right? We could go on Netflix and see all the craziness, and they put it in documentaries. They do blockbuster movies. They've normalized their crazy, their mania. They've normalized it in every element, from if this is sex trafficking to Mormonism, sleeping, they've done everything, serial killers, everything across the globe. They have normalized their behavior. And I don't necessarily even think it's them demonizing our behavior. It's more so them utilizing propaganda to keep us in a position where they justify their actions, right? And in a situation like this, my main goal is to see how we can just kind of be more honest about all elements of our culture and our communities and how we need to keep these things safe. I live in New York, man. We came up in hip hop. For a long time, hip hop ain't really been safe. Some of y'all in the Midwest and the South, hip hop for a while really ain't been that safe, from shootouts in the club to the women that might show up, and depending on who's there. You got party promoters that be abusing women, or women. I mean, it's so much. You got girls that show up and set men up, right? So this ain't even a gender war because we both on code, right? It's just more so understanding that there are some elements that exist and have existed that just really haven't been helpful, and they've been very hurtful. And we've masked it around glamour. We masked it around money. We masked it around the idea of what success looks like. And we haven't held each other as accountable as we need to. And these are even moments of growth that I had with my friends when we, coming up, when we get to our mid-20s and our early 30s, and like, yo, how safe have we made people be when we do events, when we do parties? Were the girls safe? Did we make sure that these dudes didn't come, or these girls didn't come? Were we making sure that when people was around us, they felt safe? Because a lot of times things happen around people that they trust when they let their guard down, from the girl that have too much to drink and hopefully nobody touch her when she goes, if she want to fall out in somebody's house, or the guys that Now, I mean, same thing, and you wake up, your money missing, all that stuff. So, when we look at this Diddy situation, man, it's been a bad smell around Puff for a long time, bro. You got people who ain't even want to sign the bad boy, right? It's been lingering stuff that seem to be a little bit more than his personal sexual preference, right? There's no victim, there's no crime there. You take that of a God if you want to sleep with men, do your thing, you into that stuff, but the dangers that start to come about when it's to the abuses of power, right? And, niggas know what Daddy House was. It was like, yo, be safe when you go to Daddy House, right? It was, his studio was called Daddy's House. That's where coming up, you making beats or you doing music, you got it. It's so interesting in a sense because, for a long time, these cultures that we create have been taken from us and being positioned by people who have power, right? The small hats have power and they empower some people. And unfortunately, you might have people that just ain't moving with nobility or moving with a moral compass to make sure that everybody is safe. So I think it's really a moment in time where, we, really start to look at who we celebrate. And I'm not saying a brother guilty or not. I'm just saying it's very important for us to know who we celebrate. And if these people are pouring back in our communities, if they're holding a standard of making us stay safe, if they, are they holding themselves as an honorable person that we can make sure our young people are able to look up to. Because for a long time, we haven't had men of honor that's been having a mic. And I mean that in many fields. We haven't had men of honor. Had men that's successful, have had men with money. We have had men that show you how to get it. But when you start to think about are these things helpful for the overall goals of our community, they haven't. And it's been like that for a while. So this is an unfortunate situation. The fact that we got to see one of our, quote, titans of Black success, who we could all say we came up on, go down, and if he's guilty, man, he got to take that up with God. If he's not guilty, God bless his soul. Pray that he, comes out on the other side. But we definitely have to hold the standard a bit more higher for our culture, our community, and really just work hard to keep each other safe, man. And I'm gonna land it there.
All right. Thank you, Talent. Let me give a shout out to R. Bailey for the super chat. R. Bailey says, I agree. We should not feel sorry for Diddy just because he's a Black man. Wrong is wrong. At least Diddy has the finances to defend himself. So shout out to R. Bailey. Let me go ahead and get it to Black Pressure and DJ. Go ahead, Black Pressure.
Hey, if DJ want to go, he can go. I spoke twice. So if you want to go, DJ, go ahead.
He may not be that pressure.
Yeah, probably not. So I want to say this too. This is, I know everything is semi-heated, but I do want to say this. It's a moment of praise. So if everybody in the room, everybody can listen on YouTube, for all the people here that are new, for all the people that are kind of new, for all the trolls at the bottom with 2 followers and all that, I know y'all listening too. I just want to say, you see how Rilla, Trouble, Black Majority, DJ, brother that just spoke, I apologize, I can't remember his name. See how we can all speak, disagree, and it not turn into personal attacks. If Black people can actually do that, we're actually capable of that. So I just wanted to say that even though we disagree, it's still love, and we're not going at each other's necks. So I want to start out by saying that, but I will say this, addressing what my good brother Black Majority said about eyewitness accounts. Yeah, you can't use that in court. We all know that. But I can tell you, I'm sure you could tell me just as well as I can tell you. I can read you a list of names. And like I said, I'll reiterate, you could tell me just like I can tell you, of Black men who spent decades of their life in the penitentiary because a woman pointed at them and said he raped me. And 20 and 30 and 40 years later, when DNA came, they were released because they were innocent. How reliable is an eyewitness account? But like I say, even though I agree with everything else the good brother said. That was definitely something I disagreed on. And addressing what Trouble said about not worrying about white folks' business. White folks' business is our business. They're our victimizers. Like Nelly Fuller said, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything else is just confusion. We have to know their business, once again, because they're our victimizers. And like I said, News is my third time speaking, so I'll mute up and listen.
Let me give a shout out to Cognitive for his contribution on Cash App. Thank you, Cognitive. Anybody else that wants to donate, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. And for those, like I said, we're trying to get some memberships to the actual site. The actual link is in the Jumbotron, and it's also the link is on the screen on YouTube as well, guys. So let's go ahead and get some memberships to the newstoter.com platform as well, too. But once again, $Newstoter. $Newstoter. See, we got Aunt Lie up here. We're not gonna keep the space open too much longer. We'll be shutting it down in a little bit. So let me go ahead and get the Aunt Lie. Aunt Lie, go ahead and unmute your mic.
These Black Power reparations. I apologize. I was just eating some chicken.
So you want me to come back to you?
Hey, no. Let me say this real quick. If she don't want to go, I'll mute her.
Go ahead, Pressure.
I'm gonna say one more thing, and I'm gonna use an extreme example. Okay, I'm not defending if Diddy is guilty or innocent. I'm not saying let's not convict him before anything comes out, because, like I said, I'm gonna use an extreme example, and I'm putting myself in the group. Everybody who has an opinion on it. If Puffy is guilty of the stuff he's being accused of. If someone put a gun to your head and they said, beyond the shadow of a doubt, prove anything Diddy did, or I'm going to blow your brains out. Myself or nobody else could do that, because the only thing we have is what people said. That's all we have. You either choose to believe what somebody said or we don't. Now mute up.
Let me give a shout out real quick to Iris for her contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to Aunt Lie. You ready? You want to speak now?
These Black Power reparations. But I want to know, before I say my comment, because you know how people be jumping down my throat and I said I'm sensitive. Is it a good thing? Are people saying it's a good thing that Diddy got raided, or is it a bad thing that Diddy got raided? And that he left the country and he left his kids.
We didn't say anything. We just talking about the actual topic. So it's just pretty much however you feel. I mean, it might be a good thing for some people. It might be a bad thing.
Okay, because I honestly feel like, I'm not saying if he's guilty or innocent because I wasn't there. I don't know what the mental capacity of somebody to hold on to something and say what happened, what didn't happen. But the fact that he is on an island is a beautiful thing. I ain't gonna lie. I hope he stay there. I hope he don't come back, because I feel like if the court system is corrupt, we all know that. And my thing is, I really feel like the topic should have been just about what happened in recent days, because if you want to go with the sex trafficking or even those crimes, if you would have watched, I don't know if you guys saw this series, but it was a series, Quiet on the Set, talking about how Nickelodeon and a lot of those kid shows and channels are literally pedophile stations. That these shows,
yeah, we heard about the Nickelodeon thing.
Yes, and this is the thing of this whole this quote unquote crime of the sex trafficking and these sex crimes. It's funny to me how, and again, I wrote a book on it, so I know why it happens. Only certain people are charged with certain crimes, while other people are not. And if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. It's convenient to me that 20 to 30 to 40-year-old statement can be used to convict Bill Cosby when the prosecutor already said we're not even going to try him if you testify, and then use that testimony that they said that they wouldn't use to put him in prison as a black man, but you have Dan Snyder, who forced Amanda Bynes to have an abortion at 13. And he's still walking around here with nothing. We have the dude who SA'd Drake Bell, and I don't even know who these people are. I just saw the documentary. And I didn't even know, like, Ariana Grande was on here, the stuff that they had these kids doing. And this is why I would tell my kids, don't watch. Like, I wouldn't let my kids watch their shows. I wouldn't let my kids watch their shows. And I wouldn't, and people will talk about stay fun.
Who is in this group?
Okay, I don't know who you is, Smiles. I don't know if you trolling or not, but go ahead and stay on your microphone. I'm gonna drop you down.
It's Professor.
Is who? That's Professor?
Get that loser out of here.
Hold on, who is that? Is that Professor? Okay, I heard him say it's Professor.
Yeah, it is me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's up, Professor?
Who we talking about? His mama in this group? I didn't know his mama was here.
That's Professor. What's up, Professor?
How y'all doing, man?
Hey, chilling. Let me let Aunt lie because I don't want to ruin her train of thought. So let me get back to Aunt lie. Professor, if you want to speak, I got you. Well, go ahead, Aunt lie.
I just really think when we look at cases like this, as for black people, it's very, very hard for us because one thing I do believe, and it's like a sticky situation, and I believe it's done that way on purpose, where they say you should never criticize. Now, every time anybody does an interview, whether you see Mary J. Blige promoting a movie or something, they're going to ask her about the situation because they want her as a black woman to dog the black man and shame his allegations, accuses when we don't know if it's guilt or innocence or anything. But when those people do whatever it is that they do, the way that they do it, because Charlie Sheen wanted to SA both the Corys. Literally, he came out with a video and said it. He's still walking around, nothing happened to him. He got tiger's blood and everything. So when you talk about crimes being committed by celebrities, let's just put them all in a bunch. It's funny to me how alleged crimes committed by black Americans are held to a different standard than white Americans. So my thing is, if he's on the island, I hope he stay there. Just on the simple fact that if it ain't justice for all, you know what I mean, ain't no justice for some. You want to go after, and I'm not saying if he did it or not, that ain't up for me to deal with. But the fact that these people are literally have the pedophile rings. They have pedophile TV shows. These TV shows are not for kids. And I've never seen these shows, and I would tell my kids I didn't want them to watch white people shows, and I would let them know that they weird and they do certain stuff. So I'm watching this stuff with my kids, and my kids were saying, man, Mommy, you was right. You never let us watch these. That's why. Because you had these kids having shows about these topics that are not child related. And it's bigger than Nino Brown because it literally has to be millions and millions of white people who watch this. And the level of disgusting that was going on there, and nothing is being said about it. But as soon as that come out, now Diddy house get raided. Like, are we kidding me? Are you got to be kidding? You can't sit here and tell me after Quiet on the Set did what it did, the fact that his house being raided is on everything. Like, really, and hopefully he was smart enough to get rid of all the evidence he had, and if he wasn't, that's his stupidity. Because I would have been, as soon as she filed that lawsuit, I would have started burning stuff. If I was guilty, I'm just saying. But I just feel like if we're talking about crimes committed by Hollywood, we need to talk about all of the crimes committed by Hollywood. And I believe this is another ploy to get black people to talk about black people, to disrespect black people, to have an interview about something else. 50 Cent gonna be talking about his little, white supremacy shows, and he gonna be talking about Diddy. They just want you to dog the black man, dog the black man, dog the black man, dog black people, but they don't never say nothing about Elvis. They don't never say nothing about Harvey Weinstein. They don't never say nothing about none of this. And these people was out here doing this stuff to kids. I'm talking about, they make that 13-year-old girl having an abortion and then gonna sit here in the news media that know that this happened to her. They're saying that she crazy, she lost her mind, Because my daughter just told me that Jamie Lynn Spears got a baby with old boy. And she got pregnant at 16. And this is stuff that happened in 2000. There's still like statute of limitations. They can still be charged. But we're going to talk about what Diddy did. So I'm saying if we're going to talk about Diddy, we're going to talk about everybody. If not, it's as a black woman, I'm not going to disrespect the black man. If he did it, he a black man in the court of law, y'all going to throw him under the jail. So it ain't my place to say anything. And I believe that's what they want to happen. They want us to dog. They want them to dog. It's going to be everywhere. But the same energy and the same smoke, again, the media is owned by white supremacy, and it's them. And it's just, I just really hope he stay there. And I'm going to land my plane.
Thank you, Aunt Lai. Appreciate it. I see we got why they do me like that. Did you want to say anything? Did you want to?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the space to speak. Shout out to all of my people in the room and also on your YouTube. And I agree, reparations now, they are here, they are just unfolding. And so we will continue to fight until this country pays everything that they are owed. Now, in terms of Diddy, because I think a lot of us who are like millennials, at least, and older, we've known that he was very, very much a weirdo. There was like some video of him like saying Atlanta, look at his lips with a wig on, like, ooh, Atlanta, and then him like talking about Frosted Flakes in that video with Kevin Hart and stuff like that. Like he has been a whole weirdo. But one thing that I wanted to read, and this was really to answer, there was a gentleman that had said, why does it seem like, or does it feel like black women really do be taking the baton predator? The reason is because 1 in 4 black girls will be sexually abused before the age of 18. 1 in 4 are survivors of rape. 35% of black women experience some form of sexual violence during their lifetime, and 40 to 60% of black women report being subjected to coercive sexual contact by the age of 18. Unfortunately, I cannot put that in the Jumbotron or anywhere in the chat because I am on timeout right now for telling off a demon on this app, telling them or suggesting that they go jump somewhere, preferably off of a bridge. But yes, I am on Twitter timeout, so I can't post that source. But I do believe that is why a lot of black women.
Newstoter.
Oh, okay. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you, WPI. But I do believe that is the main reason why a lot of black women have a visceral reaction to predators and predatory behavior. We do see that, and we know that black girls are not the only victims of SA. For instance, I do believe that there is that Instagram thought, Drea, for instance, which highlights how older venomous demon people can really put their teeth into our young men as well. So I'm of the mindset to protect all children, and if somebody is going to use their platform or their I'll say their platforms, their network to be a demon against our people, yeah, you're gonna get what's coming to you, and you should. And don't come crawling over here trying to request to us like to please save me, because you should have been thinking about that when you were victimizing them little girls and them little boys. That's how I feel. But what the last speaker, Aunt Lai, what you said, and as well as Black Pressure, what you said is absolutely correct, that there is white supremacy in the mix. And so my first thing when I saw that the story today drop was, what in the who did Diddy piss off that he lost all the protection? Because we all knew that he was a weirdo, and I'm still going to ask that because I think that could be where the real story is, or not just the real story, but like a bigger kind of story. And I also think that there's some other stuff that's going to come out,
by people within the entertainment industry. So I'll go ahead and land there. That I think that the reason why many of us do it is because so many of us have been victims to predators.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, sister. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get to Smiles. I'm gonna get the Professor. I'm gonna get the Twizzle. I'm gonna get the Black Majority State DJ, and then we're gonna close it out for tonight. Professor, what's going on with you? How you doing? It's been a long time.
Yes, man. It has been a long time, man, and good to see all the people up in the space. As you can see, man, I took a long hiatus from this damn shit, and in some aspects.
Try not to curse, Professor, but go ahead.
Okay. But let me say this, man. In regards to Diddy, if Diddy did some of the stuff that is coming out, he should be punished. But we all know in the United States of America, black men are villainized constantly. And it's hypocrisy on top of hypocrisy in America. Because we see on a daily basis that it's not just black men who are committing sexual assaults or rapes or anything like that. It's also white men, the most powerful group in the United States of America. And we don't see them villainized in the media, but we know this stuff is going on. We have seen powerful white men who have victimized black women, and you will never see a story come out. It might be like a little, I guess you could say like a little tidbit here and there. But when it comes to black men, if something comes out about them, like this whole Diddy situation, we see it all blowed up. This is the hypocrisy of America. I know there was some issues about black women. That topic came about black women jumping on board with white supremacy. I have to agree with black pressure. I do see a lot of black women doing that. Brother, black pressure is on the money, because it is a lot of our sisters doing that, and it doesn't have anything to do with black women being victimized. And by the way, I'm not denying sisters being victimized, because the numbers that the sister just gave or just provided are very true. But we also know a number of white women are victimized, and yet, guess what white women do, sisters? They still don't try to blast white men out there on social media. They don't try to put them all out on blast to bring the entire race down. Now, understand what I'm coming from when I say this. They know these white men are doing evil, but they still don't say shit. And that's
language, Professor.
I'm sorry. But they still will not say anything against the entire group. And I see a number of sisters jumping all on Diddy. Man, oh man, I'm so glad Diddy. I'm glad he's getting it now. Yeah, he's gonna get it now. Yeah, he's going down. I've been seeing the comments all on social media. I don't understand why sisters want brothers to hurt so bad. When you know we're in a state of crisis in America where they always have villainized black men. See, y'all know this. But you see sisters that'll jump right into this whole white supremacy thing and be like, oh, shit. Oh, excuse me. Yes, they can get Diddy. I've been seeing it all over social media, y'all. Yeah, he about to go down. He about to be put behind bars with R. Kelly. Yes. And I'm like, wow. We're dealing with white supremacy, but we also having a fight amongst our sisters to try to get them to understand, hey man, we in a state of crisis in America where they trying to do everything they can to take us out. And we don't need black women to join in on that, because they also trying to get you all out the way too. See, you all are not understanding that you got to stay on code, which is what white women do. White women stay on code. They know white men are even low down. They know it. But they stay on code with their partners in crime, y'all. That's what we try to tell you, sisters. Now, you might not like it. Now, I know y'all don't like brothers that mistreat you or abuse you or say something against you. I know y'all don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to see any sister hurt. But y'all, we in a different situation here in America where hypocrisy is the key here. And that is they want black people out of the way. And they doing all kinds of things to get us out of the way. So we need all of our people, black men, black women, to stay on code to fight the greater battle, which is to take white supremacy out, remove it from our situation, because it's keeping us in a lockdown situation. It's keeping us in harm's way. It's affecting us in our education. It's affecting us in the medical. It's affecting us in healthcare. It's affecting us in the criminal justice system. It's a greater battle for us, sisters. That is white supremacy. Because white supremacy is also saying to you, sisters, that you're not important. Even though you get raped or assaulted or sexually assaulted, whatever, white supremacy don't care. Y'all can go out there all you want to and talk to these judges and to the prosecutors. They don't really care about you all getting raped, okay? They care about white women getting raped. They don't care about you all. And that's what you sisters got to understand. You all are crying about Diddy, but guess what? They don't care about what you all think anyway. They just want to get at Diddy for a bigger issue. See, Diddy has made some folks mad somewhere. But they don't care about you all being assaulted or hurt. That's not what this is about. Bill Cosby. I think Bill Cosby, if you really look at that situation, it was white women involved in all of that, right? Yeah, I think it might have been a few sisters involved, but they didn't care about the sisters. They didn't care nothing about their feelings. They don't care about black women's feelings here in America, okay? Y'all's emotion, okay? Just like they don't care. But I'm glad to be back up in the space. Glad to see the family up in here. Black Pressure was 100 on what he said, because I've been saying the same thing, brother. I hear you.
All right. Appreciate that, Professor. Twizzle, you had your hand up. Did you want to speak?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Shout out to the room, everybody. Newstoter, I know you. I know your spaces. I know you got so you too.
Yeah. So definitely with the language, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to try to be professional as the best. Yeah, I just want to say that shout out to the black men in the room. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, we really need to pay attention to this. You know, everybody's criticizing him, but nobody's looking at the big picture. You know what I'm saying? The big picture is ever since this Me Too movement started, they've been coming after prominent black men. And what they say in a word of war, once you chop off their head, the bodies fall. So who are they coming after in black America? They're coming after the prominent black men. They're going after the athletes. They're going after the actors. Now they're coming for the entertainers. So then what's next? Once they chop off them, where are you going to see black men? Nowhere. When you see black men right now, they're either LGBTQ or they're tether. They don't represent black America. They don't represent the culture that I was born into, grew up off of, and the culture that made me. So everybody quick to judge and criticize, but one thing they're not quick to do is look in the mirror and look beyond that, because what's happening to them is going to happen to you. You know? Ever since that Me Too movement happened, they've been coming after men over accusations. And what they say, the word in the court of law, without no evidential accusations, has no groundings. But now a person can say, well, he made me feel bad in 1986, so now I can get sued for that. And every black man in here saying that can't happen to me, you really better pay attention to that, because just as soon as you come up, just as soon as you become prominent, something of value, you're going to have somebody come after you talking about, oh, well, I may have said yes, but I feel bad about it now, so I'm saying no, and they going to come after you too. People better pay attention to what's going on, because what's going on is they trying to get rid of black Americans. You know, they don't really care about the black American woman, because they know they can offer her something and she'll fold. But the black men not gonna sell out like that. So they know they gotta wipe us out. Remember when Dick Gregory was alive? He said there are 5 million missing black men that can't be accounted for. They're not dead, not in jail, nowhere. They're getting rid of us, man. That's why they bringing these tethers over here. And I remember everybody, well, they can't do this, they can't do that. Well, look what they did to the Japanese in World War II. And look at what they're doing right now. I don't see no black men nowhere. In my city of Oakland, a prominent black city, I don't see no black men nowhere. I just see women, Hispanics, and Asians. When you look on TV, and I'm not a TV dude, but when I watch TV, all I see is plus size black women, Asian, Hispanics, and everything else. Where's the black men? The only black men you see is gay. You got me messed up if you think I'm finna start looking at the other sex. No, I love women. I'm a proud black man. And I just want to say, man, y'all people have to start looking at the bigger picture and not what's before them. You got to have a peripheral. You got to be able to look past it. They're getting rid of us. You know, they know the black women will sell out for money and love. They know black men not going to sell out because we're on principle and we're about that business. That's why they're killing us and getting rid of us. And not only that, we are the only ones that say the United States Constitution that's labeled as a 3/5 of a human being. So therefore, law enforcement has the right to kill us if they're correcting us. Only black men have that. We've been fighting an uphill battle since we've been on this continent, and we still fight an uphill battle right now, 2024. And since we all got on code, you got all these infiltrators, these bed wenches, and these tellers coming in trying to infiltrate us for love. And the words of Dr. John Henry Clark, if you look in that mirror and you don't see something that love you, you need to reevaluate your situation because everything outside that mirror don't love you. They just want you and use you and gonna have their best of you. I remember I told this one chick, she was a beautiful ass woman. And she always said, I can have any man I want. I can have any man I want. Okay, you can have any man you want, right? But which one of them men is gonna stand for you, protect you, and be down for you, ready to fight for you before he's ready to sleep with you? Think about that. They think these tethers, they think these others, and they think the Neanderthals, Newstoter, but they think Europeans is going to love them better than a black man. But my 50 years of living life, I've never seen nobody else fight for a black woman like a black man, especially me. I fought for my mother, I fought for my 3 big sisters when they boyfriends was abusing them, and I stand square for my daughters because when they boyfriends see that they got a strong black father, they look the other way. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fighter, man. I'm fighting for black people. I'm not fighting for black men, women. I'm fighting for the people. And anytime somebody want to select themselves or distinguish one over the other, you're not for the fight. You with them because you're selective. You choosing a side. I fight for black people, black men, black women, and children. You know, and I stand on that square. What's happening to Diddy, I support Diddy. Regardless of whatever his parasites or whatever his little fetishes may be, he's still a black man. And there's 2 sides to every story. Wait till you hear Diddy's story before you judge him. And if you're judging him before you hear his story, you're a hypocrite. And I don't have no respect for you. And I stand on that. Newstoter, I'll drop my mic on that.
All right. Thank you, Twizzler. Thank you. Y'all, DJ's got a space going to be popping off tonight as well, too. So he's going to be continuing this topic as well. I'm going to get to Black Majority State. Trouble, I see you came up here. I wasn't going to take no more, but I'll give you a minute up here as well, too. And we're going to be closing this thing out for the night. Black Majorities, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Allah, because she said a lot, and I really appreciated what she had to say. But I want to say this about the white-black thing. So typically, and there are these interracial crimes, but typically, white people are going to abuse other white people. Now, they have us under them in the system, so they can also abuse us as well. And that's an unfortunate situation. Whether he did it or not, if he was abusing Caucasians, this would have ended a long time ago. If R. Kelly was abusing Caucasians, this would have stopped a long time ago. So I think that I think we all understand what we're in and what's going on, the snow globe of white degeneracy. But these are black men with power, with a lot of money, with a lot of connections, a lot of networks, and they are taking that power, which, again, let me say this, money is not power, obviously, because it didn't help either of these gentlemen that we could bring up. I'll bring up Nate Parker, who did The Birth of a Nation, which was an amazing film, a phenomenal film, in which they torpedoed his career based on some allegation from when he was in college. An amazing film, an amazing director, and that was kind of like the first signs of it. I think that Bill Cosby stuff started surfacing around the same time period. And so to that I say this, all the black men who were in the position of wealth, power, connections, access, they should have took those incidents as warning signs, as the whatever we've been doing is over. Let's figure this out. Let's get our stuff together. Let's get in alignment, get in allegiance. Little John just converted to Islam, right? Let's have some conversions if that's what it takes. Let's get married, whatever it is. But let's clean house. And I think someone else said that. But that was almost a decade ago, right? So if you're going to continue in the pattern of behavior where the last accuser, the producer who's a man, who's got massive amounts of actual evidence, according to him, photos, videos, etc., according to him, that he was going to give to the authorities, according to him and his attorneys, what about him? What about that black man, right? What about that victim? If we're just going to be concerned about black men and black malehood in this particular conversation. Let me see, there was something else that I wanted to say. Oh, yeah, obviously he's a broken tool, right? Because he had all the protections, and they did go away. He had all the political connections, all the financial connections, and they did go away. So money, fame, fortune, wealth, celebrity for black men, or black women for that matter, is not enough. And this is where, in my opinion, they all make a very horrible calculation, because they're depending on their ability as individuals to stand in this system that everybody knows the system's corrupt. They see it way more than we do. They see it firsthand. If the things that we think we see and the rumors that we hear, they're actually in those rooms. They're actually seeing it and experiencing it in real time, right? And they're still not saying, oh, this is too much. Let me get away from this. Let me align myself with whoever I think has the moral capability to protect me. And I want to end with this. Kanye, right? They cratered his financial earning capacity. He said he was in debt before he put out this recent project, and has been able to, build his resources back up. But had they had any type of sexual impropriety on that man, he would have been buried, right? Buried alive. So I say, when I saw Kanye getting close to God and he started doing the Sunday whatever services, and yet I'm like, man, this man is in a spiritual warfare, and he's trying his best to get away from it. He's trying his best to surround himself with good energy, positive energy, to protect himself and his family. I don't know if the gentleman that's in the title of the space had the capacity for that. In other words, he was probably so far gone in whatever his indulgences were, and he tried to rebrand his love and all this other whatever. What about Kid Cudi? Kid Cudi said they blew up his car in his driveway. What about that, black man, right? So I just end on that.
All right. Thank you. Trouble, I'm going to give you a minute because I'm getting ready to close this one out. So go ahead. You got it.
Thanks, Toto. I appreciate it. Black Majority State pretty much came up and said what I want to say, so I'll summarize it. I'm with Black on that. Black women, we are not white women, and that's the reason why white women go to family side. They have their whole families torn up from the flow up, deleted, because they stayed silent. As a black woman with black men I'm raising, I refuse to stay silent about the degeneracy that harms my community as a whole, and that is a problem. That's no different than say two women in your family being raped or molested, not being silent about it. then those molesters go on to molest and rape their children. And then they're silent about it. And then they have children, and those grandchildren turn around and get raped and molested. Why? Because they were silent about it. In the Black community, I'm not going to hold you up as a Black man if you are causing degeneracy and harm to the rest of my community based on the fact that you are a Black man. Now, what does that mean? Okay, that means that maybe I don't call the police on you, but if you don't want me to call the police on you, the rest of the brothers are saying, oh, well, you're participating in white supremacy by calling this degenerate brother who's causing harm to the rest of the community out. Then maybe the rest of the community needs to get together and drop squad that food. So until we form a system amongst each other where we drop squad the degenerates amongst us, then stop trying to compare us to white supremacists and white women when we call the degeneracy out. And again, what one degenerate person does in the community is not a deflection or reflection on any other Black person within the community. It is that food. And if everybody stands back staying silent about the degeneracy in that food, listen, I can't fight white supremacy with my family, my Black family, and knowing I got a degenerate brother standing behind me that I got to watch too. Either I'm going to be able to have to fight white supremacy full throttle, because I don't want to have to watch the mug behind me who's also causing degeneracy and harm to my community. That's one too many daggone fights. So yes, we need to get these degenerates up out the paint. That's not silent with each other. That doesn't mean anything publicly, but at least with each other. I'm not going to be silent with my people about who's causing harm while we have to fight white supremacy at the same time. What does that look like? I'm fighting you from the front, and I got this fool behind me. So let's think about it on that level, and that's all I'm saying. I'll land my plane right there. So tell us to go ahead and go by the day.
All righty, all right. Appreciate that, Trouble. Thank you. Thank you. Like I say, DJ, he has a space. He has a space that he's going to start. DJ, what time is your space?
Right now.
Oh, you start.
I'm gonna start it as soon as you close out. So I'm gonna just say this real quick because I know you gotta go.
Yeah, real quick.
Trouble. We've always spoke up for Black women when things go right, but a lot of times y'all always tell us mind our business. From grade school up until right now, at the age of 44, it's just my birthday 2 weeks ago. So y'all been telling us to mind our business. When we see y'all with older men, you know you ain't supposed to be with. Other thing is too, spoiler alert, if you seen they clone Tyrone, what was the drunk alcoholic always saying to Tyrone? Hey, Coco right over there, they just kidnapped her, but you couldn't understand what he was saying because it was gibberish and nobody wanted to take the time out to listen to the drunk. So even when someone telling the truth, you sound like you're drunk and nobody believe you. That's the same thing go with women when they say, hey, look, this man did something to me. Oh, you sound drunk, nobody believe you. Go the same thing with men in the Black community. Oh, this woman sodomized me or raped me or whatever. You sound drunk, nobody believe you, and you're a man, you couldn't control her. Those are the talking points we need to be talking about, though. Something else was said, though, but I guess go ahead.
Yeah, let me give a shout out real quick to Mary. She just became a member of the platform, so thank you, Mary. Shout out to you as well. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to close this thing out for the night. DJ's got a Space Guys Part 2. Y'all go over there and check him out as well, too. We'll be back on tomorrow night, guys. So peace. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to FBA Goddess for coming our co-host and hitting me up about it was her idea to go ahead and do this space. I went ahead and changed up what we was going to do tonight to do this. So shout out to FBA Goddess. Shout out to all of the speakers, Black Majority State, Trouble, Rella, Black Pressure, Black Professor back up in the house. Shout out to him as well, too. Ray. Shout out to all you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. Check out DJ Space. Support us on Cash App and also become a member. Become a member of the Newstoter.com platform, guys. You can support us monthly, help us to grow. We appreciate everything, guys. Be safe. Have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.